Good afternoon or evening. It is Monday night. We got the Seattle Mariners and the Toronto Blue Jays here at the Rogers Center in Toronto. For anyone that hasn't been to Toronto, which I haven't, maybe check it out for a Mariners game. But this is Rooftop Sports, and we've got our friend over here. I gotta get that name in there. Steve, he's our other guy. How are you doing today?
I'm excellent, man. Had a pretty solid afternoon watching the total eclipse today in the Midwest. A nice little change of pace, a little something to break the Midwest monotony.
Yeah, and too bad couldn't see anything in the Northwest. And even if there was, I don't know if we would have seen it anyway because it was all full of clouds.
So. I that's what I heard. I heard that there was quite a bit of cloud cover in Western Washington today.
And my softball game got rained out too, so I will not be playing softball tonight.
It easily could have been worse. It could have been snowed out, as the Tacoma Rainiers dealt with a couple days ago. So
they did in Utah. And let's take a look at the starting pitching. We've got Luis Castillo, who has heavily struggled in his first two starts. He's 0-2 with a 6.75 ERA, and he's given up 2 home runs already, 3 walks. At least he has 12 strikeouts, but we're going against Jose. Pronounce that last name.
Barrios.
He's off to a pretty good start in his 2 starts, 2.25 ERA in 12 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts, 4 walks, 2 home runs. And then you said he is known to be the breaking stuff, and you're expecting the Mariners to chase quite a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. You're looking at a guy who is a sinker dominating pitcher. He throws that sinker at 94 miles per hour, 31% of the time. And instead of the traditional slider, he throws like the old school slurve, tops out at 83, and he throws it at about 20 miles an hour, 29% of the time. So you're looking at a sinker slurve guy. He will mix in his 4-seam fastball, but not really a lot, about 20% of the time. And of course, that only tops out at 94 miles an hour. So it's going to be a situation where he's going to use the sinker as a means to get ahead early in counts. And so it's probably going to be indicative of the Mariners to be a little bit aggressive early in the counts. But if there's a situation where it's 0-1, you're going to start seeing slurves, especially the right-handers. Low and away, Julio Rodriguez would be would probably be wise to keep that in his back pocket. Because in a situation where if you're trying to keep Julio from extending, you're gonna try to negate that power with that slurve.
Yeah, let's hope. And speak of Julio, he is at a 205 batting average. I would say he had an okay series. The one who didn't have much of a great series was J.P. Crawford. Like J.P. Crawford's just having the weirdest, just terrible luck with the way he's hitting. Like he's at least making contact. It's just the ball just happens to land in someone's glove or in fielding position. An encouraging thing we did see yesterday, now, although that the game was pretty much out of reach, was Dom Canzone hit a home run. And as much as the criticism he's been getting, including from me, he is leading the team in home runs with 2 compared to everyone else.
Yeah, and when you start looking at Dom Canzone's his batted ball data, it shows a very for Mariner fans who haven't really been checking on these things. When you start looking at how the lineup is projected, he's actually the 3rd best hitter in this lineup right now, behind, believe it or not, Ty France, Mitch Haniger, and then Dom Canzone checks in. He's it's not just the issue of the hard hit rate. His exit velo is pretty high, and he's getting on base, and that's encouraging, especially towards in the latter third of the lineup, a guy who can consistently just get on base, or as we saw yesterday, pop one out. So
he did hit the crap out of that, and hopefully he can get that going, because right now he is at a 174 batting average with a 174 OBP, no walks, and 9 strikeouts. So hopefully maybe that one hit maybe gives him a boost of confidence. And another great hitter that's actually doing pretty well, and it seems to be under the radar, is Josh Rojas. Josh Rojas is still batting above 400, and considering that he has pitched twice, and he actually did okay considering that he gave up a home run, and looks like I'm looking at an update but looks like the game is delayed in Toronto. Let's take a look and see what is going on.
It seems a little weird considering they got the roof closed and the roof closed at Skydome. So, and it, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe this is Toronto's home opener, correct?
Let's take a look and see if it is. It
looks like it is.
True. Let's take a look at that for the Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto, looking at their schedule. This is their home opener. Yeah, they opened 3 series on the road against Tampa, Houston, and New York, and they went 4-6 on the road.
I thought so.
It's pretty brutal. And now we're trying to figure out what the situation is right now for the Mariners and the Blue Jays game, trying to see if there's any updates, because they say ESPN does say delayed at the very moment.
Well, right now, of course, I got the Toronto Blue Jays feed, and right now they're doing all the award celebrations from last year. So, they're doing the Gold Gloves, Silver Sluggers, stuff like that. So,
home opener. Yep. Now that really makes sense. And let's see what we got. We got fans that have already been chimed in. Fans since '92. Hey, I've been a fan since 2000, but I was born in '92. And this guy answered it all. Home opener.
Yep. Home opener.
And looks like I also got quite a bit of engagement. I already have 31 people already watching, 23 from X. I mean,
snap.
I think a lot of people noticed, I guess, my relationship with Locked On and everyone else. I guess they are seeing that. So they're like, and most of them came in there. I mostly got support from the fans. The comments I saw, they made all the jokes. I'm not going to say them specific because
sure.
I don't want Locked On to be like, oh, Rooftop is making fun of me. I don't know.
But right. And it's also an unnecessary Twitter beef. I don't know, man. Sometimes I think Twitter is foolish. So
sometimes one thing I've learned is that the audience, of course, I deal with on Twitter X is a lot different than YouTube. Like YouTube, like the comments I get are like usually like laid back comments. The worst I get is, well, you're not right about that, but whatever. X is like it's like a bunch of how dare yous and
right. Do you know who my father is, or did you just say something about my mom? No.
Yeah, that's what but YouTube, they're like, whatever. Instagram's even more laid back about it.
I'll tell you, what's incredibly gross is Facebook, especially in some of those Mariner groups. It's unbelievably disgusting.
The only one I vibe with is like the one that used to be called Kelnick Country or something. That's like the only like good one. But the other ones are like Mariners Nation, Mariners this. And I noticed that they change their group like all the time because I think it's just so bad that they had to make a new one.
Well, Mariners Nation, there was literally a post from their admin who was literally saying, hey, if you see anybody being negative, let me know. So they're actively looking for people to snitch out other members of their crew, of their groups, if they happen to express an opinion that happens to run quote unquote negative. So like if anybody has the audacity to say, hey, Scott Service messed up in that situation, they will ban you from the group. Oof. And I was like, dude, actively censoring and snitching people out. You gotta be effing kidding me.
I know. It's like everyone should be allowed different opinions, but man, and I hope those people are getting paid to do that, because if they're not,
they're
too much time on their hands.
They're not.
That's sad. So that makes it even worse.
It is what it, well, people, there's certain Mariner fans who refuse to acknowledge the negative, right? That, subscribe to the true to the blue, good vibes only, way of life, I guess. And it's like, listen, I understand. And for the most part, as being a fan for as long as I am, I don't get emotionally attached one way or another, right? So it is, I guess you can say, good vibes only. But that being said, I mean, you're absolutely right. An opinion is just that. Let people express them. And if there's something that you disagree with, why don't you just explain why you disagree? And then we can just get along.
Yeah, just have a nice conversation. Like, I have a lot of friends, maybe just beyond sports. There's things that I have friends who are like completely opposite of what we believe in. And the worst thing we ever do to each other, we just crack jokes at each other.
Yeah, I mean, or you can just drink a beer together. Whatever. It's all
about it.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well,
Currently right now in Toronto, apparently they are paying homage to some of the construction guys who built Skydome back in '89. So
yeah,
if
that's
you're
a good
wondering,
gesture because that is probably one of the more sophisticated stadiums that was ever built, at least for its time. And I looked at the time
Sure.
lapse of that, and boy, that was a lot of work. That had to be a lot of work.
Well, I believe Skydome was the first retractable roof, correct?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it looks like, and I think
Yeah.
Safeco followed as number 2.
That's kind of interesting to think. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, and I think at this
Huh?
point, I will show a quick time lapse video of the Sky Dome construction. They actually have an entire thing. I think it'll be a pretty cool thing to show.
Sure. Right now, players are being introduced, so we're still a couple minutes away from first pitch.
Eee. All right, let's take a look at. All right, where it is. There it is.
Okay.
Time lapse of the Toronto Blue Jays Sky Dome.
By the way, where did the Blue Jays play? Where did the Blue Jays play prior to?
All I know is they played at like some stadium that looked like a minor league stadium. What's it like?
It was
I read the name.
Exhibition Stadium.
Exhibition Stadium, yeah.
Yeah, and it was actually a CFL football stadium that they converted to a baseball stadium.
Eey. And Sky Dome Rogers Center has also been used as temporary stadium for the Buffalo Bills before, where the Seahawks once played before, where Russell Wilson helped the Seahawks score 50 points back in the 2012 season.
Boom.
And he also had his first career touchdown rushing.
Yeah, I forgot that the Bills once almost flirted moving to Toronto. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
I thought about it. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, they were actually pretty close to they were pretty close to doing it too, because they were playing like 2 or 3 games at Skydome.
And now the Bills, I think they're getting a new stadium on the way.
Yep, they sure are. Yep.
And looks like, yeah, I think they're expecting it to go to 4:30. But yeah, there's that time lapser.
Yep.
A lot of work was done, just like that.
Yeah, and so now Skydome, let's see. So Skydome opened in what, 1990, 1989. So you're looking at let's see. Basically, you're almost barking up 30 years now. So
yeah, it's getting up there. Yeah,
it's getting up there. Yeah, 25 years now.
25? No, it's like it might be flirting with 40, 35 years, I would say. I gotta see when Skydome was open. 1989 was when it was first opened, so it's about 35 years old, getting close to it. Time flies. And then just 3 years later, the Blue Jays win a World Series, and then 4 years later, Joe Carter hits that insane walk-off home run, and I believe that's the last time the Blue Jays. That's the last time there was a walk-off home run to end the series. And I think I can remember. No, that the last walk-off was, I think it was 97. It was the Craig Counsell scoring from Edgar Renteria.
Oh, well, how about 2001 with Luis Gonzalez?
Okay, so Joe Carter was the last one with home run, I believe.
Home run. You have no idea how pissed off I was when the Toronto Blue Jays went back to back in the early 90s, considering that the Mariners and the Blue Jays came online in exactly the same year, 1977. And then just the lineage of these baseball teams throughout the 80s and into the 90s, and to see the Blue Jays win 2 in a row, as a Mariner fan, it got me all types of fired up. I couldn't handle it.
No,
at least John Allrood won a couple of rings, so that made me happy.
And Ricky Henderson, I think Henderson won too, and Roberto Alomar and Pat Borders, the '92 World Series MVP.
Pat Borders, former Mariner.
He was the very super part-time guy just because Dan Wilson needed a breather.
Absolutely. By the way, who was the just out of curiosity, see if you know this one, who was the manager of those 2 Blue Jays teams?
Oh, I feel like I knew it. I had it, but I don't.
Cito Gaston.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed. No way.
Yep. Cito Gaston. Yep. And it was significant too because former Mariner GM Pat Gillick was the GM for those Toronto Blue Jays World Series, and he actually swung one of the best trades in Major League history when he sent the crime dog Fred McGriff to San Diego. That actually brought Joe Carter and Robbie Alomar.
Did
to
not
Toronto.
know that. Wow.
Yeah. Yep. That was a heck of a trade too.
And other fun facts. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say you never see those major league all-star for all-star type deals at the deadline at all.
You don't see it anymore. It's usually those trades are now like they're like halt. One of them is just tanking and they're just getting rid of everything.
If you see those type of trades, it's generally done in the off season now. You know what I mean? Where the value isn't going to be as sky high as it is during the regular season. At the trading deadline. So usually, So usually the values go down a little bit in the off season, and you're able to swing those type of deals.
Yeah, and a lot of people say that the Angels should have traded away Ohtani, but my problem with
100%.
people saying my issue with people saying that was who would have wanted to take on a 1 or 2 month rental unless they're willing to be able to negotiate.
I would probably assume at least 3 teams would probably do that.
Dodgers, of course, because they did it. The
Dodgers, Yankees, Phillies. Maybe even the Astros. Although I highly doubt the Angels would trade inside their division.
Oh, looks like we got our question from Gauntlet Guru Sports. How long is this game delayed? Probably until maybe 4:30 is my guess.
How about you just hold your horses? They're doing the pregame right now. They're introducing the lineups right now. So I probably would assume within the next 5 minutes ish.
Maybe, yeah. And it's not that big of a deal.
It's not that big of a deal, man. Both teams are 4-6. This isn't exactly a clash of titans tonight. So
I think both teams are kind of like, yeah, we can wait. We could have a little breather until it starts, considering where the Mariners are at. And speak of, like, oh, there's been some updates, some roster updates, and I did tweet about it.
Ty France is back today.
Ty France is back, which also meant that Samad Taylor is going to be sent down. I was hoping that he would stay, but where's the room for him? Like, unless I would say if Canzone didn't hit the 2 home runs, Samad Taylor would have stayed, and then Canzone maybe would have went down. So those 2 home runs got him saved at the skin of the teeth. But we got Brett Day, I can't say it, and Tyson Miller. They are going to be taking over for the bullpen duties for Cody Bolton and Colin Snyder, both on 15-day ILs. And in case you're wondering what happened to Colin Snyder, he got hit.
He got the line drive right off the knee, correct?
Off the knee, and that was like the worst possible spot. And I heard from what Ditvish said, it's not good.
So you said Cody Bolton and Snyder are on the DL, and Tyson Miller and who is coming up?
We got Brett DeJeus.
Okay, Brett DeJeus. Yeah, I thought it was Brett DeJeus or something. Yeah, okay, cool. Brett that last name, and then Tyson Miller. I actually like Tyson Miller.
I do too, and
he's a pretty good pitcher.
My friend, the other content creator, Couch GM, he believes that Tyson Miller could be another Paul Sewald. So let's hope that is true, because we could use literally another Paul Sewald on this team.
You know what we also could have had? We also could have had Paul Sewald had we.
We could have
not traded,
but could have. Ty Adcock has been DFA'd.
Not surprising.
Not at all.
Surprising. Well, it's probably one of those situations where you're trying to sneak him past waivers and keep him in Tacoma, just getting him off the 40-man roster.
Yeah, and it looks like we got T. Adams. I bet no run in the first inning for this game. How do you guys like that? I mean, wouldn't surprise me, I guess.
So are you saying no runs for the Mariners in the first inning, or just no runs at all in the first inning?
I guess no run first inning for this game. So I think just in the first inning.
Well, let's see. So Toronto's starting lineup tonight is going to be leading off as George Springer, followed by Vlad Jr., Bo Bichette, Justin Turner, who's actually gotten off to a really nice start, Davis Schneider, Kevin Biggio, who's actually not performing all that bad, Alejandro Kirk, Isaiah Kina Falefa, and Kevin Kiermaier. So versus Luis Castillo, who has had some issues locating his fastball, which he is a fastball dominant pitcher, against three guys who feast off fastballs: Springer, Guerrero, Bichette. So if you're asking me the odds of who would score first in the first inning, I would probably say the Blue Jays. But if you're, but no runs in the first inning, yeah, I probably can see that.
Yeah. And now the lineup for the Mariners, which we haven't talked about yet: J.P. Crawford, Julio Rodriguez, Jorge Polanco, Mitch Haniger, Mitch Garver, Cal Raleigh, Ty France, Dom Canzone, and Josh Rojas. That is, you would
Good
think
lineup.
that's a more of a solid lineup than it was yesterday. I mean, yesterday they rested Mitch Haniger. Ty France wasn't available, so they had to work with what they had. Correct. Unfortunately. And yesterday, there were points of the game where that one decision did change a lot. Like the stolen base review. I mean, yes, it was overturned, but had it still been out by any chance, maybe the outcome could have been a little bit different. And Hancock had a strike 3, but the umpire didn't call it, which arguably led to a home run.
Correct.
So a lot of things that went wrong once again did go wrong.
Well, the thing about it is, and I hate to harp on this, but 2 nights ago, had they let Bryce Miller at least come out for the 8th, you're saving an arm. You're going to save at least one arm, which would probably allow you to take out Emerson Hancock a little earlier in that game when he was struggling, even at one point being down 4 runs, but you're still semi in that ball game at that point. But they let him pitch. They continued, Service continued to let Hancock pitch, even when it was easily noticeable that he just did not have his best stuff yesterday.
He really did.
And of course, you see Josh Rojas. I think he's already pitched twice this season.
It has been
in mop up duty, and that's never really a good sign. So
no, especially when it's pretty ironic too. Like Service was really quick to pull out Bryce Miller. 78 pitches. Nah, get out of here, man. We got to save you. And then Hancock, nope, deal with it, man.
83 pitches. Now you're still good.
Yeah, 83 pitches after 6 runs. That's what Service has a habit where he doubled, like we talked about yesterday. He does double dip on himself.
Well, the thing about it is I don't want to hear the post game platitudes where you're talking about taking the good with the bad. Like these are the things that I talk about that absolutely drive me batshit crazy, because it's like enough with the platitudes, enough with the cliches. Just explain yourself, please. Let us get in. Clue us into your rationale, your thinking of some of these moves that you make, because it will clear a lot of things up, so you don't have the never-ending stream on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram about, second guessing couch coaches.
I know. And I'm trying to think, other things that I had in mind was, I had something in mind.
Bring it.
Oh, I'm still wondering what Scott Service said, because it sounded like he didn't really have much of a reason why he pulled Bryce so early. Like the way he answers it, it's always like a very
He mentioned something about taking the good with the bad, and it had absolutely nothing to do. Like somebody directly asked him why he didn't at least have Miller come out to the 8th, and he rambled on about taking the good with the bad, and it's just like, you didn't really answer the question, bro.
Nobody really answers the question anyway. Doesn't seem.
I know it's like that scene from Bull Durham where you gotta you're getting interview. You're getting interview advice. It's like, you got to know your cliches, you got to know them, you got to use them. And when in doubt, just pull one out and use the term God willing. It's
almost like, why did these meetings?
Enough of the cliches.
It's almost like, why even be there to answer questions other than to avoid a fine or something?
Yeah. That's a very good question. I wonder if they're required to, do a post game.
In the NFL, they are for sure, because we saw that Marshawn Lynch, like whenever they tried to interview him, he always declines, and then they find him so much that he goes, "Okay, I'll answer questions." And whenever they asked him questions, he just gave him like 1-word answers.
So, by the way, just quickly, I know we're getting very close to first pitch. Right now, Cleveland is leading the White Sox 4-0. That's in the bottom of the seventh. The Yankees are leading the Marlins 6-0. That's 2 outs in the bottom of the fifth. Pittsburgh's leading Detroit 3-1. Cincy's over Milwaukee 2-0 in the second. Atlanta and the New York Mets had just started. That's in the top of the first. It's 0-0, and the Dodgers are in Minnesota. That's at the top of the first. Still no score. So plenty of games underway. Nothing that's really surprising around the league so far. So,
speak of the Atlanta Braves, they are going to be in Seattle by the end of the month. What kind of reception do you expect out of Jared Kelenic? Because I actually believe he's going to get booed.
I think you already know that answer. I think you know that answer. I think we all kind of understand that answer. Anytime that a player, especially one that is as emotional, he's an emotional creature, I like to call him. And sometimes he just kind of pops off at the mouth. And especially as he was leaving Seattle, he was taking pot shots. And, say what you will about Mariner fans. There's plenty to say. But one thing that Mariners fans do not appreciate is a former player taking pot shots for the sake of taking pot shots. So I would probably think that he is going to get booed.
The way I see it is, I think a lot of Mariner fans, they seem to have forgotten that it was the Mariners themselves that planted that red flag. It was when we talked about it before. Kevin Mather with he bet against himself.
Yep.
The way that Kelenic was handled, it was like, you're going there. No, you're going there. It's like completely back and forth. And now it's like we're expecting him to be like all fluffs and flowers about it, especially for a guy of that emotion. I can't. So every time he said what he said or did what he did, like the way I see it, I don't think he was directing it towards the fans or even the players or even the coaches. Maybe it was purely on Stanton and even Kevin Mather.
100%. He was literally taking shots at the front office.
Like he said in the Instagram post, like he's like, yeah, I love the players and the fans, but didn't say the word Mariners in it.
Right.
And I think that got twisted very unfairly. And I think a lot of people, tend to forget about those things.
How wasn't it amazing how Mariner fans turned on Kelenic on a dime like that? Because if you remember, Kelenic had nothing but love especially when he got traded for. He comes into the organization and there was nothing but love, especially coming up through the minor league organizations, and then he gets to Seattle and he was like, I wouldn't put him up on juniors level, but as far as like big time prospects making their major league debut, I remember when Dustin Ackley came up. I remember when Seager came up, and he was on that level of he's going to be the next big thing. And even when he was struggling in his first 2 years, Mariner fans showed him the love. And then all of a sudden, he kicks a water cooler and then he becomes public enemy number one. And then, it was, he gets traded, and it was amazing just how quick Mariner fans turned on him. And it was swift. And I was like, that seems kind of ridiculous considering the love that he was given. And then all of a sudden he becomes persona non grata.
Yeah, it's really unfair. And then also Coastal Hayes, there just seems to be, it's the opening day for the Blue Jays. I guess the Root Sports guys, they didn't really, or nobody seemed to pay attention to that it was going to be a delay. So it is
they just got done singing God, Oh Canada. So I think we're good. I think first pitch is coming up in just a second.
Oh, you know what I should have done was I should have played the failed O Canada when there was that lady that was singing O Canada. She like mixed up all the words and then ended up by saying sorry. And then I think she slipped on the ice, I think. No, I think she just left. It wasn't slipped on the ice. I think she just left and everyone just booed.
That's harsh. That's harsh. But you know what though? If you botch a national anthem, you get exactly what you deserve. I do distinctly remember Carl Lewis doing a national anthem. I think he did it at T-Mobile Park, if I'm mistaken, and it was one of the worst renditions of the Star Spangled Banner I've ever heard.
I thought it was the one in between the nets and the one with the nets and Bulls, where he was like, "And the Rockets."
Yeah. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Maybe that was that. Maybe that was the
And then
one.
he goes, I'll make up for it this time. And it turned into a comedy show than a national anthem. He actually had a good singing voice. He just happened to jumble it.
Do you remember when Roseanne Barr sang the
Who
national anthem
doesn't? But my thing is,
at a Padres game?
I put it more on the Padres for doing that, with knowing that she's a comedian, a very trolling one, and then everyone acts all surprised. I'm like, she's a comedian.
Well, yeah, but this was back in the '90s when she was still doing the original run of Roseanne. So this was well before the famous Twitter incident that led to her downfall. But you're absolutely right. She's a comedian, right? So what do you expect? Do you think she was going to take the national anthem seriously?
Of course not.
No, of course not.
I put that more on the Padres than Roseanne Barr, because like, you signed up for it, Padres.
Absolutely. But that's terrible though. So this young lady botches "O Canada" and then slips on the ice and then gets booed.
Maybe it was a second separate time, but we'll have to verify that. And it looks like we are getting close. It just changed to Mariners and Blue Jays, so we'll see. They're just showing the preview. They're just talking about how good Josh Rojas was yesterday. Probably the only really good player on that team.
So before we start, what's your prediction for tonight? How do you think this one plays out?
Well, I expect Cal Raleigh to at least, I expect him to hit either a really good extra base hit or a home run, because he does well. He does love to play in that stadium. He really does. Yeah. That's my prediction. But for Castillo, I don't know. Like, I don't really do well with these prediction things. I just don't. But
fair enough. I think
you'd have a slightly better game, but I don't know.
I think J.P. Crawford gets a double tonight. I think Ty France gets a double tonight. I think Josh Rojas gets an RBI single. I think Mitch Haniger will get an RBI single tonight. And I think the big hit will come from either Julio or Cal Raleigh, which is going to be a home run of some sort. And the Mariners win tonight by the score of 5-3.
5-3, huh?
5-3.
Yep. Oh, and the lady that slipped. Hold on. She stopped halfway and said sorry, and then she slips on the ice. That was for the Star Spangled Banner. And then I think the "O Canada."
That's unbelievably funny.
I'm gonna look up "O Canada" error. I can't really find it. Or "O Canada" worst performance? Nah, I can't find it. Okay, who's worse? Who would you rather have? Roseanne Barr singing the national anthem, or what was the other one that goes, "Let's play some basketball"?
Oh, you're talking about Fergie?
Yeah, Fergie.
The Fergie who did the jazz lounge rendition of
kind of made it sound sexual too.
Yeah, it was. Wasn't that at an All-Star? I think it was
the All-Star game,
an NBA All-Star game. So would I rather take Roseanne Barr's butchered rendition, or would I take Fergie's weird, creepy jazz rendition? I think I'd probably have to take Fergie just by default, because she got through the anthem and sang all the right.
Anthem. She just did it very cringe.
Yeah, it was very, very. Yes, that's a good word.
Okay, now best performing national anthem. And
easy. Super Bowl 1992, Whitney Houston. Discussion over. Whitney Houston's rendition of the national anthem at the Super Bowl, Bills Giants in Tampa,
where she puts her fists in the air.
The best rendition, hands down.
Well, I guess only because millennial kid here, born in the 90s, so it wasn't really didn't really get to know Whitney Houston well, but Jordan Sparks between the Patriots and the Giants of 2007 or 8?
I'd have to go back and listen to that one. I don't think I remember that one. So
yeah, I remember I listened on the radio, and when I listened to it, I was just in absolute shock. I was like, "Whoa, did I just listen to that? That was good."
Patriots versus who?
Giants, when they the perfect season.
Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, okay.
But it was a really good one.
Come to think of it, I do remember that now.
And she was not even 20. Like she just she just won the American Idol, and she didn't even break 20 years old. And she's doing it at a Super Bowl stage.
Isn't she Lionel Richie's kid? Jordan Sparks? Her dad is somebody famous.
Her dad was a football player, something else Sparks.
Oh, okay.
And Coastal Hayes says, take Roseanne over Fergie. At least Roseanne was joking. It's a point. Oh, and looks like they are taking the field. So to answer your question, Coastal Hayes, they are now taking the field, and we got the starting lineups up there. We already talked about it. Good to see Ty France back, actually hitting 320.
Yeah,
quietly has a 6-game hitting streak. And also, yep, we're getting there. It's Jose. Hopefully the Mariners can break he's having a good game's worth of streak. I don't know. But we'll see how this goes. Not sure how it will go. He works with a sinker, a slurve, a four-seamer, and a changeup, and he does mix it very well. Like you said, he does rely on breaking stuff a lot. That's seems like the
absolutely
opposite of Bryce Miller.
The thing that I want to see tonight mostly is with Luis Castillo rebounding after 2. I would call him mid starts at best. He's a guy who's going to throw his 4-seam fastball a bulk of the time. He throws it 44%. And the idea for him is location, because if he's throwing it early, he's getting it over for strikes. All it does is make his slider even that much more dangerous. He will mix in a sinker and a change, of course. And it all depends on the 4-seam fastball.
All right. Hopefully Castillo does make that rebound, because it is very unusual of Castillo to have a start like this. Because I remember last year, it looked like he was going to be a shoo-in Cy Young last year, the way he started.
Yeah.
Especially when he almost got the perfect game against the Rockies.
Yep. And it's also worth noting that, the Mariners do have success against Barrios. It's not like this is not like Mariners versus Mike Mussina or Pedro Martinez back in the day. They do have, they have had some success against him, and it's going to have to be a mixture of patience, but also aggression as well too, because he's going to be trying to get that sinker over, and he's going to try to get it over early. And the few times that we've had success, it's because he hasn't been able to locate that sinker early, leaving it out over the plate. And also sometimes he's also left that slurve out over the plate as well too. So this is a game where I do believe the Mariners could do some damage.
And now we're looking at 0-2 pitch as the first 2 pitches just happened. It was a strike and a foul ball. And here's the 0-2. And that is strike 3 called already. First 3 pitches in, and we got one out.
Crawford.
And that first at-bat and strikeout was unfortunately brought to you by SeatGeek. Use Rooftop Sports for $20 off. And Riley, you just said you crossed the Idaho border and now you can't watch because of blackout restrictions. Well, you got me, so you got my Mariners voice, so use that. Use your imaginations on the game itself. And now here's Julio Rodriguez, and that is in there for a strike right down the middle. He's thrown nothing but strikes so far, Barrios. And that was a nice breaking stuff right there, too.
Right.
Just like what you talked about. Yep. And now we're looking at the 0-1. And here's the pitch. And now here's a line drive, and that's going to be caught by the center fielder. It looked promising, but that was caught.
And if you notice that again, first pitch of the at bat is that little sinker that he got over. I like the contact. That's going to pay.
Contact.
Yeah. And if you've noticed over the course of the last couple of days, the Mariners have gotten a lot better contact wise. Yes, there's been a lot of outs, but it's a lot better than what we saw
in the Boston series.
Yeah, the Boston series and the Cleveland series. Yeah, absolutely.
At least they were scoring runs. It's just now the pitching all of a sudden has the problems. And now we got Polanco who's already taking a strike, and Barrios has been pitching nothing but strikes. And now here's the 0-1. Here it is. And that is outside for a ball. That's the first ball of the game pitched by the Blue Jays. Polanco's 1 for 10, but he got that one hit, and that was a home run. So maybe make it 2 for 11 with a home run. Another home run. And now here's the 1-1, and that is outside for a ball. We're looking at a 2-1 count for Jorge Polanco, hoping that Polanco can figure out to find a way to hit this guy, as he does struggle against him. The first home run was on Saturday, so that was good to see that happen. Here's the 2-1,
nice.
And a swing and a miss, strike 2. And we're looking at a 2-2 count on Polanco against Barrios.
Yep.
Barrios has been pitching efficient, mostly strikes throughout this game or this inning.
Yep.
He does have an opportunity to get another strikeout. And now we're looking at a 2-2. Can Polanco make something happen?
And if you've noticed the last two, the
2-2 pitch. And here's a line drive foul. Looks pretty promising. And you were saying?
Oh, that Barrios came back with back-to-back changeups before the foul ball, and it looks like that could be something to keep an eye out, especially for inducing swing and misses. And
now we're looking at 2-2. Polanco has a good hard hit rate.
Yep.
And now here is the pitch, and check swing. Did he go? No, he did not. But it's like I guess that breaking stuff of his made him overthink made him do the check swing. But we're looking at a full count with Mitch Haniger on deck.
And because of the off speed, he was ahead on the fastball that he fouled off.
And we're looking at a 3-2 full count. And now here is the full count 3-2 pitch. And that is ball 4. Did he check swing? He did not go. So now that's going to be a base on ball for Jorge Polanco.
Why do you like him?
Because he gets on base.
And he does get on base. Well, at least for that one. And now here's Mitch Haniger. What I would like to see is a home run out of it, because you've got 2 outs. So you got nothing much to lose unless you can continue somehow.
Pitch.
That is a strike.
Ideally, a nice little 2-run homer would be a good way to start off. But in this early in the ball game, a nice easy swing for a double into the gap
also would be ideal.
That could score Polanco.
0-1 count for Mitch Haniger, and here it is. And that was right in there for a strike. That was another breaking stuff right there. 9 hits this season, leads the team. Mitch Haniger is actually one of the best players. Who would have thought he would be one of the best on the team?
I did.
Already looking better than he did in his Giants year, which he was basically a spectator. Here's the 0-2. And now here is a line drive, and that is caught by George Springer, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, a man left on. We are going to the bottom of the first. This is Castillo's time to redeem himself. How will we do it? We will find out after these messages. SeatGeek is a mobile ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and other events. They make the buying experience easier by the app ranking each ticket from 0 to 10 to see if you are getting a good deal, and you can see exactly where you are sitting. I regularly use that app, and I have had nothing but a fantastic experience with SeatGeek. Use my promo code RooftopSports to get $20 off of your first purchase. Link to the code, app, and website will be in the description, so take advantage, and thank you. Oh, I see your broadcast is ahead of mine, which I'm okay with.
No. Your broadcast is ahead of mine by a pitch,
which I'm okay with.
I'm one pitch. Yeah, it's of course, because the last couple of games there were a few spoilers.
And it couldn't hold the excitement or the disappointment.
Yeah. Well, Saturday night was a nice game. So yeah,
it really was. Sunday was like I nearly fell asleep until the Dom Canzone home run.
Speaking of fall asleep, because I took my dad down to Detroit for Tigers A's on Sunday, and my dad actually did fall asleep at the ballpark. So
how'd the A's do?
Oh, they beat the crap out of them. and they posted 6 runs in the first 2 innings, and took the crowd out of it, and it was crickets the entire afternoon. So with the sun coming down, yeah, my dad fell asleep.
I have a dilemma for Friday, because Friday's going to be a very interesting day where you've got the Oakland A's at home, their first home game since the announcement, or the Mariners. Now, the one thing is, if I'm not willing to spend $7 to go on Apple, then I may do the Oakland game to see what that atmosphere is like.
I would probably assume there might be 20 people in the stands in Oakland for that one.
And maybe 30,000 outside, just like opening day.
Sure, yeah, they had a nice little tailgate there for opening day. But
they did. And now here's a
the
ground ball to Rojas. Throw to first in time. Got one down already in one pitch. That's efficient already.
And I'm not surprised that George Springer was aggressive on that one. You're looking at Castillo, and that Castillo, that right there was a little two-seamer in on the hands, but still induced a ground ball out. And that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see. And
now here's Vlad Jr. Here's the pitch, and that is a strike. Vlad Jr., the son of Vladimir Guerrero Sr., who killed the Mariners throughout time when he was with the Angels. And now here is the 0-1 pitch, and that is a foul ball. I remember when I was a kid, when I went on MLB.com like I used to every day, I saw a picture of Guerrero in an Angels uniform, and I go, we're screwed. On top of the Mariners having a bad offseason. And now here is the 0-2 pitch to Guerrero, and that's foul ball.
Now, if you remember, Guerrero was absolutely dominant as a Montreal Expo. He was a great hitter in his career, one of the best bad ball hitters I've ever seen. I still to this day think that the old man was a better hitter than the kid.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that's no question. No, Guerrero was a monster.
Yeah.
But at least Vlad Guerrero Jr. is good. And now here's the 0-2. That's foul ball.
Junior is the better power hitter. By far, Vlad Jr. is the better power hitter of the two. Because, even in his heyday, Vlad Sr. was like a 25 home run guy, but the dude was just an automatic base hit.
He was, and he had a big fielding arm. And here's the 0-2. And now here's a ground ball right to Rojas. The throw to first, and it's in time.
There it is.
It looked like he was about to bounce, but Rojas has been fielding at least routinely in this inning.
And so far, so good for Luis Castillo. He's locating, and he's inducing some nice swings.
At least swings to get the guys out. And now we're looking at our number 3 guy. I believe it's Bo Bichette. And one thing that these Blue Jays are known for, they are known for having sons, along with whoever their fathers are legends. Craig Biggio, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Vladimir Guerrero, and Dante Bichette. And now here's a pitch to Bichette, and that is a strike.
I wouldn't call Dante Bichette a legend. I would call him a solid baseball player. Bo's the better player of the two.
Well, Dante raised them well. Now here's the 0-1. Now here's a ground ball right to Rojas. Again, the throw to first, and it's in time. And that's going to be a 1-2-3 for Castillo. Only 8 pitches, very efficient. We go to the top of the second. It is still 0-0. Very good inning so far. Yeah,
absolutely. Luis Castillo, his changeup is looking good. That's sitting down in the zone, so it's inducing ground ball outs, which is what you want to see. The good thing about this is what we're seeing tonight versus what we saw in his last 2 starts. It looks like he's actually pitching to contact, trying to induce ground ball outs instead of trying to strike, instead of trying to strike everybody out. And if this continues over the course of the next 2 innings, we're not going to have to worry about him burning through 100 pitches within 4.5, 5 innings. So
let's hope that doesn't happen. But also let's hope that if Castillo is below 80 pitches and it's like 8th inning, let the man pitch. Let him see what he can do.
That's not going to happen. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's the one warning I would have given to Blake Snell. Like, hey, Blake Snell, if you were disappointed in Tampa Bay for the World Series when you got pulled, Scott Service is going to do even better.
He's going to yank you. And this is the crazy thing because, Luis Castillo is a veteran. He's been around for a while. He knows how to navigate, and navigate through his pitches. to a point where if he's conserving his pitches and he actually happens to get through 6 and even into the 7th, that's usually kind of the line of demarcation. That if he pitches into the 7th or even gets through it, that's pretty much all she wrote.
Yeah. I'm looking at these commercials and they're already piling up highlights for 2024. And I'm like, there's that many highlights already for considering how this season is going. They showed the Dom Canzone home run. They showed Julio's game winner and a diving catch by Polanco, I guess.
So, wow, really? They're already showing 2024 highlights, right? So it's like what, 2 home runs by Canzone and then, the game winner by Julio. And that's
pretty much it.
Maybe the Haniger home run on opening day, maybe, but.
Yeah, I think they put that in there. And now here's Mitch Garver batting 5th in the order, and that is a strike.
Let's go, Mitchell.
Mitch has got to pick it up because they did pay him the big bucks for him, sort of. And now here is the 0-1 pitch, and that is low for a ball. Good eye on Mitch Garver. Batting 208 with two RBIs.
I think the last hit he had was the double on Saturday.
I think he had a hit on Sunday. I'm not sure. I don't even remember. That game was so forgettable. And here's the 1-1. And now here's a ground ball right to the third baseman to throw to first, and it's in time.
And if you notice right there, the first 2 pitches of that at bat were slurve. He went to the slurve to try to induce swinging. He got one on the first one, and
he got him again.
That's going to be the way he's going to attack right-handed hitters today. The ground ball right there was the sinker that he just hit into the dirt. So,
and here's Dumper, and that's a swing and a miss. And Cal Raleigh, he usually does well in the Rogers Center, so hopefully he can step up and get something going to get his confidence going. But he's looking at an 0-1 so far. He's had a swing and a miss. 5 hits this season, all singles. He hasn't really done much. Here's the pitch, and that is a strike again. So it's going to be an 0-2 count. Cal Raleigh's already behind on the count. That was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball by Barrios.
Yeah.
He's got 20 pitches in. So at least the Mariners are putting pitches against him. And we're looking at an 0-2 count for Cal Raleigh. And now here is the 0-2, and that is outside for a ball.
One of the things that I wanted to see from Cal is his maturation at the plate to become more of a complete hitter, because it seemed like the last 2 years it was either feast or famine with him. Either it was a home run or it wasn't. So I'd like to see that hit tool improve in 2024.
And now we're looking at a 2-2 count for Cal Raleigh. He's working a pretty okay count. At least he's at 2-2. And now here's the pitch, and that's a foul ball. He's still fighting it off.
Yep. So you saw the slurve. You saw the slurve for the swing and miss, and then the sinker. To get to strike 2. So far, he's done a good job battling off.
And now we're looking at a 2-2 count, and here it is, and that is fouled again. He's still fighting it. That's a good sign that he is still fighting the count. It is now 2-2 with 24 pitches in.
And I think for Cal, it's about timing, isn't it? At the plate, so far it looked like this season that really his timing has been off, and it looks like in this at bat he's
2-2
squaring it up a little bit.
And that is inside for a ball. 3-2. He is working on a full count. He has really fought this guy pretty well. I mean, even if he strikes out, I'm not going to be too upset because at least it took X amount of pitches to get him out.
Absolutely.
And now we're looking at a 3-2 for Cal Raleigh. Here's the pitch, and that is fouled again. And I'm really liking this at bat. You want at bats like that. You want those foul balls.
Oh, absolutely. The more Barrios throws, the better.
The more, to get him tired, because since everyone's on the analytics era of pitch count, you like this. And now we're looking at a 3-2 count. And check swing, did he go? He went around, and that's going to be strike 3. I really thought he did not go around on that. I wonder if that's a challengeable call, maybe. We're taking a look at the angles. I wonder if Scott Surf's going to throw that kind of challenge request.
Throw the red
flag. Still not
flag.
showing the angle. I would throw the red flag. I don't. Oh, I think he did. I think he went around.
What? At first blush, it didn't look like he went around. At first blush, but from the I wondered what the angle from the third base side, because from the center field camera, it looked like, oh yeah, he went around.
He went around,
Okay,
yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I kind of even with the center field angle, I kind of figured they just had to show it close. Here's Ty France. And
let's go, Ty.
Ty France, do it for your little baby. Do it for the baby. Do it for your kid.
Just do it for me,
Send it
Ty.
off with a home run, boy. And we're looking at the 0-1 pitch for Ty France. Now here's the pitch. And now here's a line drive, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. And Ty France is on first base, and you got the baby going, yeah, go, daddy, go!
Congratulations! By the way, congratulations, Ty France, on your first child. Great moment.
It's a beautiful moment for anyone that has a family. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a nice piece of hitting, and he just dumped it into left field. I'm not really too concerned about Ty and the fact that he hasn't gone yard yet. I just like the consistency. Absolutely.
And we're seeing like a little bit of glimpse of 21 and 22 Ty France, at least as of now. Like I remember when he started last year, he wasn't even doing this. He wasn't even getting singles.
I think he hit a home run on opening day last year, and then
he did,
and then really didn't, and then he didn't do anything for like a month.
Yeah, actually, let's take a look at the Ty France numbers. Good thing we always have all these stats. Remember, I used to look at stats all the time when I was a kid. It was always fun to do.
It looks like Barrios has started off Canzone with a strike.
He did, and it's a ball. And Canzone yesterday hit that huge home run last night. It was absolutely just crushed. And now we're looking at a 1-1 count on Dom Canzone.
Alejandro Kirk made a nice little play
right there. And that's a ball. I guess they're doing a little makeup call. Not really much of a makeup call, but that is a ball. And that was actually in the strike zone. And now Dom Canzone is waiting for it. And now here is the pitch. And that is a foul ball. And actually on the first 10 or so, in the first 10 games, Ty France was batting .326. So it was about the same thing as this year, except he had one home run and a little bit more RBIs.
I see. I don't know how that wasn't a strike. That little slurve at the top of the zone. So
we're looking at a 2-2 pitch.
Is Angel
swing and a miss, strike 3, and there goes Canzone, and that's going to retire the side. And Canzone is just having a difficult time with those breaking stuff. We go to the bottom of the second. It is now 0-0, and we need a word from our sponsor from Modern Exterior Solutions. And I got to go pee. Just a moment.
Modern Exterior Solutions is a fully licensed and insured full-service exterior renovations company serving Seattle and East Side communities. We know that a home is one of your most important possessions. That's why we're committed to providing high-quality, affordable home renovations for each customer's individual budget. We're diverse enough to meet the challenges of any project you put in front of us. Our workmanship minimizes the use of third-party services, and our team works together to meet all your deadlines. Anytime there's a challenge, we work with you to find a solution. We are proud to work with distributors of quality brand products with durable, ample protection from the elements for a variety of applications, including James Hardie siding and trim. Talk with us today about your project's needs, and we can help you solve all the challenges along the way.
Welcome back to the broadcast, and of course, we're through an inning and a half. The Mariners have had 2 base runners up to this point, with the Blue Jays coming back in the bottom of the 7th. And of course, if you guys were just joining us, Dom Canzone bit on basically on a backdoor slurve, was not able to hold a swing. This coming after a Ty France base hit. So your thoughts so far after the first inning?
My thoughts after the first inning, Castillo's pitching well so far. Ty France is getting on base consistently, but man, Canzone's really got to figure out how to hit that breaking stuff. If I were Dom Canzone, do the same thing Pedro Serrano does. Maybe
sacrifice a live chicken.
Sacrifice a live chicken, or at least go to KFC. And that was probably when KFC was really good back then. Because KFC now is not what it was in the 90s. And I was old enough to remember how good KFC was.
No, KFC wasn't as good as it was 15 years ago.
No.
In the early 2000s. So it is what it is. But
Justin Turner to the plate.
Yeah.
And now here is the 0-1 pitch. That is a foul ball. 0-2.
And this was another guy that was on the Mariner radar this offseason, potentially for potentially to get DH at bats with the Mariners, and of course they went in a different direction. And you know what? He's got off to a good start with Toronto. He's
got 1 home run so far, and for some reason they're talking about Don Mattingly's career. Don't know why they are super random unless he's part of the team. And he's the man. He's a coach. I think he's the manager of the team, maybe. And now here's the 0-2. And Don Mattingly has like the worst possible luck, as he's like the most unlucky Yankee in history that I have ever seen. Like he came in, and here's the 1-2. And now here's a fly ball drilled to left field. Forget about that one. That is
he's a double. He's a bench coach.
Wait, no, that was a single or double. Thank God. Hey guys, it's a double, not a home run. False freaking alarm.
Oh yeah, that was that was a fastball that was up and he got around on it. Yep, it caroms off the wall for a double. I will say this. Castillo put it in the right spot. It just so happens that Justin Turner's got amazing bat speed and can catch up to that. Fastball. Yeah. Justin Turner, former Dodger.
And that's a strike for Davis Snyder. And Don Mattingly is the bench coach for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, he's the bench coach. Yeah. So you think he was the most unluckiest Yankee just because he only had one playoff appearance in his career?
Not only that, but it gets better, and I'll explain later. And now here's the 0-1, and that is low for a ball. So Don Mattingly, he joined the Yankees like in Major League Baseball a year after the Yankees made it to the World Series, but they did lose. Yeah. But that's where he missed by 1 year. 81. 82. He came in at 82.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 82.
And we're looking at a 1-1 count, and here it is, and that is outside for a ball. Then in 95, the year after he leaves, they win the World Series in 96, and the Mariners had a lot to do with that. They must have been a charity. It's like, hey, sorry you lost Don Mattingly. Here's Tino, and sorry we beat you, but we'll compensate.
Yeah, the Mariners replaced Don Mattingly with Tino Martinez.
They did. Here's a pop-up, and that looks like playable, and Polanco makes the catch from a weird angle, and we got one down. And that's not even the end of it. After 2000, Don Mattingly joins as a bench coach for the Yankees right after they win the World Series, and then left in 2008 for the Dodgers, I believe. And then the next year, the Yankees win a World Series. That's unlucky.
I believe it was in Game 2. I think the Mariners had a lead in Game 2, and Mattingly hit the tying home run in Game 2.
Game 1 or Game 2.
Yeah, he actually had a pretty solid divisional series.
He played very well in that series. And here's Kevon Biggio, if I even said that right.
Kevin
Biggio, and here's the pitch, and that is a strike. And we're looking at 1 out so far, by the way, if you're wondering.
Yep. He's the son of Hall of Famer Craig
Biggio, which he was an all-time great in Houston. Cannot take that away from him.
I don't know if his dad was a Hall of Fame level type second baseman, but nevertheless he got into the Hall of Fame. So congratulations.
And Biggio has struck out, and now he got 2 down.
Yep.
Looks like Mattingly hit the home run in Game 2, yes, because Game 1 it was Wade Boggs and Ruben Sierra.
Yep, I remember the Ruben Sierra.
And do you remember what the ALDS? Had the Mariners lose the ALDS, the most remembered highlight would have been Tim Belcher breaking a camera. Now here's the pitch, and that is that's like the most forgotten.
Tim Belcher was my guy. I was so happy when the Mariners brought him in, and I think it was the day after
liked
the
Belcher.
deadline.
Like when I got to look him up, I was like, no, I like this guy. He's got the attitude.
Well, when you consider the rotation prior to the deadline in '95, when they added Andy Bettis and Tim Belcher to that rotation,
That was a very
But,
underrated rotation.
Yeah, it really was.
Here's Alejandro Kirk, and that's a 1-1 count so far.
Alejandro.
Lady Gaga, here's the pitch, and that is a foul ball. Do you remember that altercation that Chan-Ho Park and Tim Belcher had in 99?
Yeah, I do.
And I think Chan-Ho Park was trying to claim that he said something mean to him, but I think it was because Tim Belcher gave him that weird hugging tag in a weird way, and for some reason, I think that's what triggered. I don't know. It was just weird. Now here's the 1-2, and it hits off to the umpire. And let's just hope he's okay. I mean, I know we don't like umpires, but we don't like seeing umpires getting hurt.
Now, Chan-Ho Park was involved, and he was the most overrated, one of the most overrated pitchers of the late 90s. But he was involved in a game where I think it was, I want to say Reggie Sanders, but that's probably not right. But there was a game where he served up 2 grand slams in the same inning.
Fernando Tatis Sr.
There you go. Fernando Tatis.
2 grand slams. Go. And he was in the most weirdest. He gave up the most weirdest home runs. He gave a Barry Bonds 71, Cal Ripken's final All-Star game home run. He even gave up a home run to Andy Pettit.
Yeah. Like I remember when he came up and to his credit, because he was unknown, he had some success early, but once the league caught up to Chan-Ho Park, he became basically Kenta Maeda, just a guy who's going to have a 4 ERA. He might give you 200 innings, but he's certainly not somebody you can rely on.
Unfortunately, he couldn't save that Texas Rangers starting rotation that was also plagued terribly. And that's why they brought him in, and it failed.
Was he a part of the Texas Rangers rotation when A-Rod took off?
Yes, he was. He was part of that. Yes. And they're still talking to the umpire, just hoping that it looks like he's going to be okay. But he is standing. He's be okay. So it's all good. You never want to see injuries anywhere because nothing's more terrifying than that.
Who is that? Is that Angel Hernandez?
No.
Okay,
cool. Is that it? Could that be?
It looks like it. I thought it was. Yeah. I was like, well, that's good. He's earned it.
I mean, Angel Hernandez,
one of the worst
umpire, and it's amazing that he still has that job
in Major League history. Yeah,
I don't think that looks like Angel Hernandez. The guy looks too young to be one. Thankfully, hopefully not, because there'll be a lot of Angel Hernandez things to say.
Well, it's amazing considering he has one of the worst strike zones in ratings for umpires in Major League Baseball. It's known that a lot of teams don't like him when he's behind the plate. And what's surprising is that Major League Baseball still continues to let him go out there. I wonder if it's a situation where he's just universally liked out, off the field. You know what I mean? There's
the other umpires don't really like working with him either.
Okay, well, I don't know. There has to be some reason why he continues to get paid as an umpire.
Who knows? And here's Alejandro Kirk. He's working on a 2-2. Let's try to get out of this inning. And now here's the 2-2 pitch, and that is fouled away. Who had a better pickoff move, Andy Pettit or Mark Burley? I think they said Andy. Andy Pettit was the better one.
I'll tell you what, though, Mark Burley had a pretty savage pickoff move himself. I think it's actually kind of a push. I think they're both equally pretty.
2-2 pitch and a line drive, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. Here comes Justin Turner. Is he going to score the throw to the plate, which is pretty much no throw? And Blue Jays are up 1-0 already.
Yep. And this is the bugaboo of Luis Castillo. You're in a count where it's conducive for a swing and a miss, and instead of going for the changeup in the dirt away, he goes fastball up, and again it was pretty much the exact same pitch that Justin Turner wrote for a double.
Isn't that? And didn't he had like a favorable count for him?
Yeah, I mean it was 2-2, right? So
I guess he could have spared one more. And here's the pitch, and that is a strike. And worst case scenario, you just walk the guy. As long as you're not giving up a home run, You're fine. But now it's a 1-0. And if you're a Mariners fan on Twitter, do not go on it right now. They're all going to say doom and gloom things, and fans are going to fight each other.
Watching Watching Alejandro Kirk run to first base is hilarious.
And now here's a line drive, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. I think that's going to cause another run. Is that going to be? Here's the throw by Haniger, and they throw to the plate. No throw to the plate, but luckily only a man on second and third, so they did not score on that. So consider Blue Jays being a bit merciful on that one, because I thought they had a shot to score.
Again,
I
fastball
think if it was Biggio, that would have scored.
Fastball built high down the right field line.
The location doesn't seem to be doing any good for Luis Castillo.
And that was what the count was what? 0-1? 1-0?
1-0, something like that.
Yeah. Yep. So it was
now we're looking at Kevin Kiermaier. Can't even say his name. Here's the pitch.
Kiermaier.
That is Kiermaier, and that is a ball. He's batting 083, so maybe there's a chance. And yep, Kevin Kirby couldn't have said it any better. Mariners are probably the worst team with 2 outs.
Yeah, and
here's the 1-0 pitch. And that is a strike.
All the damage has been done off the fastball.
All fastballs.
All fastballs.
Gotta mix them up. You gotta mix them up, Luis Castillo, because it looks like they got you. And 2 outs, so what is what I would say. Now here's the 1-1. And here's a fly ball foul. And now you have 2 strikes. Maybe try to, like you said, let's get some breaking stuff in the dirt. Make something happen. Like fool him, sell it to him.
Right. You have the opportunity to throw change low and away in this situation where at least you're going to be inducing a swing. And of course he's got a pretty good changeup where it's not
swing and a miss. Strike 3. Went with a fastball, but he did go in the inside corner. So I think that was a good location there. But Blue Jays score, and now it's 1-0.
Yeah.
And
well,
also,
Well, you know what though, it could have been a lot worse. I mean, he gets the strikeout, and they strand 2 in scoring position. So it could have been a lot
the
worse.
Mariners can recover from that. Oh, and by the way, that umpire who was down, Lou Piniella probably would have enjoyed it. It was CB Bucknor.
CB Bucknor, okay.
The man where when Lou Piniella yelled at him, this was his expression. Do you think he was terrified deep down, or do you think that was just CB Bucknor being CB Bucknor?
Probably the latter. I think he probably thoroughly enjoyed getting grilled by
I'm
Lou.
sure he was I think he was deep down entertained. He's like, "Yep, Lou, keep doing your thing, man." And the best part is the way he called that out on Ben Davis. This is all he did, and it was very close. He was like this. And I mean, usually umpires, when it's close, they're like, "You're out of there." But CB Bucknor was like, and then Lou, now you have an anger. And I think he did that on purpose because he knew that would get under Lou Piniella's skin.
Well, the crazy thing, that's a name from the blast from the past, Ben Davis. I completely forgot we had Ben Davis for a short spell. Ben Davis was the guy who was known to break up the no-hitter with the bunt when he was down in San Diego, I believe. And I think it was Kurt Schilling,
no-hitter, yeah.
Yep,
and Ben Davis was actually he wasn't bad, but he wasn't like great. But considering that you're backing up Dan Wilson, I think he was even supposed to maybe at least even with Dan Wilson.
Yeah, he was the guy who was going to take over for Dan Wilson. That was the plan.
Yeah, that was, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out. Like it just,
and it was one of those situations where the Mariners played the Padres, and Ben Davis had one of those series where he hit a couple of home runs against Mariner pitching, and it was one of those things where Bill Bavasi fell in love with a guy.
It was actually Pat Gillick. Now here's Josh Rojas, because it was for the 0-2 season too, and that's how the Mariners got rid of Tom Lampkin. They packaged Tom Lampkin and I think Ramon Vasquez to get Ben Davis.
Let me double check it real quick.
Now here's the 1-0 pitch to Rojas, and that is a swing and a miss, and that is a strike 1. And Christian, sorry, didn't say hello to you. How's it going? Thanks for being on the show. And also donate to this channel as well by the YouTube Super Chats, or use my QR code on that screen, unless you're on your phone. I don't know what to tell you. Here's the 1-1.
Yeah, you're right.
And that is a strike.
2002, 2003. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Maybe
I'm thinking about Miguel Olivo. Maybe that's who I'm thinking about.
Oh, Miguel Olivo. He had promise at from the Freddie Garcia trade. Here's the 1-2. And now here's a fly ball to deep right center field. And that's going to, no, that's not going to drop in. That's nothing. That looked promising from that angle.
Yeah, you were fooled by the camera angle.
Man, those camera angles kill me. That's why I got to go to these. That's why I got to take your advice. At least go to an Everett game and just to see what it's like and see if I have a better angle to work with, obviously. I'm going to Everett tomorrow.
The promising thing about that was it was basically a belt high fastball that Rojas turned on it. So
just a lot of good barrel movement, but just
nothing. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, it was a long fly ball, but more of that type of contact, you're going to see a lot more drop in.
Now here's JP Crawford. He's batting 125. He's really got to start picking up because this is the JP we're not used to. Here's the pitch, and that is outside for a ball.
JP, I think
hit 3 of 4 in his last 4 safely. Yeah.
I think what you're seeing right now is a reaction to his season last year. And, you understand how scouting reports work. The league will catch up to a player very quick.
And here's a ground ball right to second base. And that is out. And Mariners have just nothing to show for it so far.
Yeah. And this is kind of troubling because, the idea is you want a lot of base traffic at the top of your lineup. And, it's just not, it's not manifesting itself.
It's just not happening. Nothing is doing. And sometimes I wonder if the Mariners have this kind of start. I wonder if someone will finally get into the manager. And now here's the pitch to Julio, and that is a swing and a miss.
I still believe that Julio needs to be batting third. Just with his power and his on base ability. I mean, the dude could be a 40-40 guy. He should be batting third.
He should be a 40-40 guy. Like, he has a chance to do it this season because he was kind of flirting with it last year, and then September he just disappeared. And now we're looking at a 1-1 for Julio.
I would like to see it.
Swing and a miss, strike 2. He chased another bad one.
I would like to see the top of the order go Crawford, Polanco, and then Julio.
I remember I had someone on the comments saying that as a case. And now we're looking at a 1-2 count for Julio Rodriguez. And now here's the pitch. And here's a ground ball right to second base, the throw to first, and it's in time. And this has been a really boring offense to watch. You got Julio giving Vlad Guerrero a hug, good sportsmanship, but come on, we got to focus. We got to win the game. Do that after the game, buddy.
Well, with this at bat, you saw the sinker. You saw the sinker first, and then it goes slurve, and then again sinker, which induced the ground ball out. So weak contact, not a lot of extension right there. And this is exactly what at the top of the show. This is what we were talking about. He's a 2-pitch pitcher who mixes it incredibly well. And if you're not being aggressive early, this is we're seeing what happens. They're just rolling over on pitches.
They are. Oh, great.
Well, it could have been worse. We could be looking at a 3-0 game, but I will say that one of the things that I would like to see, and maybe this might be a criticism of Scott Service, where I understand they have a game plan that they want to stick to in the game. But that being said, if your opponent is starting to do things off you, why not change it up a little bit instead of being so predictable?
Which is something that they have known to do, unfortunately. And then funny thing is when there are times where I call for firing in them and they're like, and you get the Mariners fans, they always say this every time. Well, who else are you going to hire? There's nobody available. And I'm like, 1, other teams figure it out. And 2, Joe Madden, right, like you said, Terry Francona, and there's plenty of other options out there. I
would love for them to make a call to Terry Francona. I know he's quote unquote retired right now, But that being said, if you throw like 12 million at him to come
And
back,
here is a play to first base, and oh my goodness, look at that play by Josh Rojas. He had a nice he had a long way to go, but he threw him out. Good play by Josh Rojas. He really might be just the best player on this team right now. I mean, he's done everything. He's pitched. He's fielding well today, and he's
nice
hitting.
backhand play.
Great backhand.
Had a nice put a good throw on him. Yeah, it was in the dirt, but good pick by Ty France. The thing about it is I think we're looking at a situation where you kind of have to roll with Rojas 80% of the time at least 80% of the time at third base. I get it. Luis Urias hit the dinger a couple nights ago. It was good to see, but I think just defensively,
Rojas
you
has
kind of have to stick.
And he's more athletic in my opinion than Urias.
Correct. And I also think he's probably right now the better hitter of the two too.
And I've also seen Rojas do jumping tags, so that is a good display of his athletic ability. He once did a jumping tag to tag someone out against Oakland on a stolen base attempt. And we're looking at Guerrero, 3 straight seasons of 25 home runs and 90 plus. Yep. And here's the pitch, and that's foul ball.
Yep. Fastball.
He has hit home runs in each of his last 2 games against the Mariners, but fortunately, those were the games where the Mariners did win that series against Toronto. And we're looking at the 1-2. And now here's the pitch, and that is outside for a ball.
Yep.
And we're looking at a 2-2 count. Guerrero doesn't strike out as much as the MLB average. And we're looking at a 2-2. And here's the 2-2. And that is low for a ball. Castillo tried to fool him this time, but it did not happen.
Yep.
And Kevin Kirby is asking if Castillo's velo could be a little bit down this season. It's not a bad question to ask, in my opinion.
Well, I thought that...
Here's the pitch. And now here's a ground ball foul again.
I thought that at the beginning of the spring, the Mariners were putting it out there in the press, and they were raving about how he came into spring with his velo up.
Interesting. We're looking at 41 pitches for Castillo. He's getting some work, and here's the 3-2. And now here's a ground ball. Rojas has a lot to run, and he's going to eat it. He's not going to make anything. He's not going to try to be a hero on that.
Smart.
I don't even know if even Suarez, I think he would have done the same thing.
No, it's it's a smart thing to do. The last thing you want to do is throw it away, make an error. Plus, it was essentially a dribbler down the third baseline, and Vlad's got some wheels, so you don't want to rush it. You don't want to give him an extra base in that situation. So
let's maybe try to get a double play. Here's Bo Bichette, and that is a strike.
Bo
Bichette, who's been one of the better players in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Working on an 0-1. Castillo checks the runner at first. And now here's the 0-1 pitch. And now here is a line drive, and is that going to drop? And that is going to be off the wall. Could Guerrero be trying to go home? Looks like they're going to wave him home. And is there a throw home? No, Guerrero stays at third. And now we got runners on second and third with just 1 out.
And this is the danger of being a fastball pitcher against a team that really hits the fastball well. And if you notice that, that pitch was literally right at, belt high, right in his wheelhouse. And again, we talk about the predictability of Luis Castillo. They're sitting on fastball.
Looking at 44 pitches, and Cal Raleigh's is having a chat with him, and this is exactly kind of what I feared. That's why I was like in that, I don't know how it's going to go. Maybe Castillo pitched a little bit better, but I did not feel confident about that.
And now you're in a situation where you need a strikeout. with Justin Turner at the plate, who's already 1-for-1 with a double down the left field line. He turned on a fastball that was up, and this is with one out and runners in scoring position. This is probably the worst guy that you want at the plate at this time,
especially when he already killed you in the last inning with a double, and now we're looking at a 1-0 count against Justin Turner. Maybe at this point, I would just walk the guy, especially if he's a big guy.
Yep.
And now here's the 1-0 pitch. Yeah. That's 0-2, 2-0. And you know what? I would just intentionally don't waste your arm. And I wonder if they're going to make that call. I would. I don't think there's any point in pitching to him right now, especially if with only one out and you have a big guy named Justin Turner who's still hitting. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike one. Now, if you get the strikeout, sure, but it's going to be hard to see this happen for a guy that hits very well with runners in scoring position. Right. Team average for the Blue Jays, 193 in his first 10 games, but I'm sure that's really shot up at this point.
Well, when you look at how this at bat has gone, it's basically away. So they're not trying to come inside on Turner. But
we're looking at a 3-1 count and Castillo. If you know what, I just walk the guy, just let him walk, and he should have let him walk in the very beginning. Now here's the pitch. And that is outside for ball 4. And yes, I'm okay with the walk, but again, you didn't have to waste so much pitches for that. Yeah, you just
put them on.
You just put them on. You don't have to pitch 4 straight times anymore.
With first base open, it's not unthinkable right here to see if you could induce the see if you could induce the double play and get out of this inning.
Let's get out of this inning fast. And here is Davis Schneider batting 5th in the order. I think he did some damage last inning. Here's the pitch. He did not. He popped out in the second. And we're in the bottom of the third, and already bases are loaded.
Yeah. And again, in this situation, you can't leave your fastball out over the plate.
Here's the pitch. And that is a strike. That's a 96-mile-an-hour fastball for Luis Castillo. I'm going to take a look at his savant and see where his fastball is usually hanging. And last season, his fastball topped out to 96, so that's exactly what we would have expected. And now we're looking at a 1-1. Here's the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 2.
And when you look at his pitching value, especially with the fastball, I mean he was ranked high, so he had a lot of success with the fastball last year. He had a lot of chase, and he had a lot of whiff.
1-2 pitch. Now here to throw the third, and that is safe. They almost had the idea, but Guerrero gets back in time.
Davis Schneider.
Right now I have 94 people watching on my X. You 94 people, get on my YouTube. I care about that more. I mean, I'll take it either way.
I'll tell you what, Davis Schneider has a beautiful mustache. Look at that thing.
And now here is a line drive, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. You got at least one run. Is there going to be another one to throw to the plate? And that gets away, and that's going to be 2 runs in for the Blue Jays. And now it's 3-0 Toronto.
It's unbelievable. And at least it looked like it was a slider away, and it looked like it was just a good. He just put a good. He reached out and poked it into center field.
And it was like a very lucky reach. It was like a bad swing, and they still got away with it. And this is just not something that you want to see right now if you're a Mariners fan.
Nope, the mustache killed you.
Being killed by the mustache. He kind of looks like he's some guy from the 90s or 80s.
He looks like a 70s porn star. That's what he looks like.
Very Castillo is at 54 pitches. He is not having a good game. This is his 3rd straight game where he's giving up runs.
Yep. In last inning it was with the fastball, and then in this inning again it still was with the fastball, but now Especially with Schneider right there, that was able to, reach out and poke that slider into center field. This is a situation where now you are still with two runners in scoring position, and Cavan Biggio, who can do some damage as well.
He really can with runners in scoring position. And now he checks when he go. Umpire said he did not. And we're looking at a 2-0 count. I mean, this inning started great with Josh Rojas with a great play.
Absolutely.
And then now it's turning into an absolute disaster. And now here is going to be the 2-0 pitch. And that misses again. And that's going to be a 3-0. And I'm thinking again, like, maybe you should have just walked him from the very beginning. Scott Service just sitting there. Like, a team like this with this talent, they really should not be playing like this at all. And now here is a 3-0 pitch, and that is in there for a strike. Like, we were saying
we were talking about scouting reports, and it's not a secret around the league about how Luis Castillo likes to come at people, and there's a lot of teams when they prepare against the Mariners, and especially Castillo, they know that he's going to try to get ahead early with the fastball. So if you're aggressive, these are the things that happen. And we saw it against Boston, and we saw it against Cleveland.
Now here is a 3-2 pitch. And now that's popped up. And is that playable for Josh Rojas? He is there. He makes the catch. And now we're looking at 2 outs so far.
Big out. Maybe he needed that.
He really did need that. And my friend Jay Trident Podcast, he's tweeted out against a Josh Rojas hit. 97 exit velo, 372 feet for Rojas. It's an out. Can this team catch a break? Not right now. Now here's Alejandro Kirk up to the bat. Now here's the pitch. And that is a strike. And the umpire showed some leniency on that one because I thought that was a ball. But we'll take it. For sure, it's a strike. And now we're looking at an 0-1 for Alejandro Kirk. Now here's the 0-1, and that gets in there for a strike. So that was a good pitch right there.
Yeah, that first strike may have been a little high, but looks like he's working ahead. So.
Now here's the 0-2 pitch, and that is low. It was not fooled on that one. And in case you missed it, in case you care, Juan Soto hits his first homer as a Yankee, and there was some small talk of the Mariners looking to get him, and it never happened. That would
have been such a monstrous get for the Mariners. And that's, and the crazy thing is that, I remember that judging by the response of Mariner fans online, a lot of people were against the Mariners giving away such a huge package. But
I wonder how much it would have cost. I think they would have at least Cole Young, I think, would have been at least in the conversation along with Harry Ford, and maybe Emerson, I think, would have been in that conversation.
Yeah, probably.
Especially with the big profile of Juan Soto.
Yeah, you would probably have to think that you would have to give up 2 starters. So maybe a situation where
swing and a miss, strike 3 to get out of the inning, but 2 more runs given up, and we go to the top of the 4th, 3-0 Toronto.
And
I was
going to say it could have been a lot worse.
Really could have. And let's take a 30-second breather, shall we? Since 2022, I have been growing this YouTube channel, and I just want to say thank you very much for being part of the growth and for the future. I now have memberships to offer for you. I got 2 different ones. I got Rooftop Fans and Rooftop Super Fans. For Rooftop Fans, which is $1.99 per month, you'll get loyalty badges to give you priorities for responses to comments, and you will even have access to special emojis that I made myself. As for Rooftop Superfans, which is $4.99 per month, you will not only get the benefits of Rooftop Fans, you will also get priority to future videos, including nostalgic videos. So go ahead and check out my membership, and thank you for your support. Yep, I would like some support. Yeah, if you want to join the membership, get some exclusive content, or be able to use my own emojis like this.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Don't just be a fan, be a super fan. Get off your wallet and pay the $4.99. It's going to be worth it, man.
It'll be
by
worth
the way,
it.
his nostalgia videos are pretty damn good.
Which one's your favorite out of all of them?
I liked your A-Rod one.
The A-Rod one. Yeah, it's
you also did the Tito Martinez one, correct?
that's my best one I've made in the nostalgia, other than the Yordan Alvarez video. I mean, Yordan, I did that right at the perfect time when it was the heat of the Houston playoffs, and as soon as Yordan hit that home run to basically seal the World Series, my video just blew up because of that. So quietly, I was actually cheering for the Astros just for my YouTube growth, and a lot of Mariner fans did not take that well.
Yeah, well,
they don't take anything well. You breathe wrong, you're canceled.
We're talking about the biggest fair weather bandwagony fan base that I've ever seen.
I swear, the ones that are like policing us, they're like the ones from like 22 when Cal Raleigh hit that home run, and they're talking to people like us that have been watching a team for years, and they trying to tell us how to be fans.
Yeah, that is the worst, when fans are telling fans how to fan, and it's like
you literally just got in.
That's correct.
Like, I know this fan that converted literally from the Giants to the Mariners because of Cal Raleigh, from what I've seen.
Right.
And now we're looking at a 1-0, and here's the pitch, and now it's line drive foul.
Like, where were you in the lean years of the 80s? Where were you in the lean years in the mid 2000s or the lean years in the 2010s? It's like, dude, I have been around for 90 loss season after 90 loss season.
Heck, where were you in the first half of Julio's career? And now here's the pitch. And we're talking minor league career. Like, were you there then? Because I was there when he was in Everett blasting a home run to right field in Everett. Beautiful stadium.
Oh, shout out to Everett Memorial Stadium right there on Broadway.
And that is a strike, which I'm planning to go tomorrow to see if I can get that little press box talk and say, hey, can I get a space? Yeah, it'll be fun.
I wouldn't see why not. Especially if the rooftop.
Ground ball right to first base, and that's an out.
Especially if you bring the rooftop crowd with you, I wouldn't see why not.
Yeah, like an ideal game would be like Colt Emerson or Lazaro Montez debut live.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That would be like, I think that'd be an ideal one to do, especially with depending how this Mariners season goes. I think more people might start going to minor league baseball games. I mean, I've already thought of that.
Well,
and that was without the Mariners being bad.
Well, especially if Colt Emerson and Lazaro Montez continue to do what they've been doing over the course of the last couple of days.
Here's a ground ball right to the third base, throw to first. And does anyone want to take a guess in the comments? He got out.
Yeah, in time.
Yeah.
Did you see what Modesto did? Last night?
Yeah, we could use their offense right now. Johnny Farmelo, Colt Emerson, Lazaro. That's maybe. I guess fans are gonna have to wait for that. I guess we're waiting for that.
It was like 2 years ago. Arkansas had a pretty stacked lineup and a pretty stacked roster for being a minor league team, but this Modesto team,
I think this one has
pretty
much
impressive.
More upside. And they did
for sure.
I mean, that's one thing I give to Jerry. They know, at least they knew how to draft on this one. And now here's Mitch Garver. Here's the pitch, and that is a strike.
And this is just like
a new Aquasox stadium.
They want to. They want to.
Yeah, they do. The issue is going to be obviously government funds. So
my take on that, I have a very interesting take on that. It's like the only reason why I don't like the whole public funds thing is only because if you're trying to build a stadium and you're asking for public funds, have fun with the drama that you're going to get.
Well, so Everett, the thing I like about Everett is the fact that they support minor league sports really well. They built Comcast Arena or Xfinity Arena for the Silvertips. Gorgeous little arena right there. And they have done well by the Aquasox by updating Everett Memorial Stadium. But of course, that stadium has been around forever. You're talking about maybe $24 million for a new stadium
versus like $1 billion for like in today's standards. And now here's the 1-2, And that is outside for a ball. And I have a hot take on this, but I think stadiums is actually cheaper on what we pay compared to like everything else. And hot take as well, I think we get more value out of it than everything else that we pay. And now here's a 2-2 pitch and a foul ball.
Well, and you have to like, for me, it should be a 50-50 proposition. It should be 50% private, 50% public, because both sides benefit it from it financially. Especially from a city, when you think about the bond ratings that the cities have to take out at such a low interest rates, and when that money is spent, it's you have to think about all the tax revenue that's gonna translate.
I would make up for it.
Yeah, not just in terms of the lease, which the city financially benefits from, but all the ticket sales and all the tax on the ticket sales, and then of course all the jobs that the hospitality industry brings around that stadium, and all the taxes from the hospitality as well too. You're looking at a situation where a year a city can clear at least $100 million a year just in tax revenue.
And if in case you just missed it, we had a nice boring pop fly to end this inning.
I know. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
My God.
This is like a hot knife going through butter right now.
Really is. And if only you were in the East Coast, I would have invited you to a Modesto game. I'm considering a Modesto game on Thursday because, yes, the views may not be there. I don't really care, but it's about maybe bring a different perspective, because maybe after seeing another bad series, I mean, maybe my fans would like to see something a bit more positive, of seeing an actual offensive team with hope.
I'll be back in the Puget Sound area a little bit later this year. I think Swanee and I might do a show from Cheney Stadium, which would be excellent. So stay tuned for that. But that's the thing. It's when Rancho Cucamonga, I think the Mariners at one point had a team in High Desert, which was right above Rancho Cucamonga, which was in the valley, a little bit past the valley. And I used to go down there quite a bit to watch the High Desert Mavericks back in the day.
What league was it? Was it the AA, AAA?
It was A ball in the California League.
And man, they moved a lot. Then they had one in Wisconsin before. Yep. Bellingham also had a team.
Yep, Appleton, Wisconsin, the old Wisconsin Timber Rattlers.
David Ortiz's place.
Yeah.
Now here's the pitch. That's a ball.
That's where A-Rod got its start.
Yeah, that's where he lost his thing. He lost his what when Ortiz hit that home run. And now we're looking at the 1-0. And that is a foul ball. Funny thing on my channel, my Scott Service video, that when the video was he made a critical mistake, people are still watching it. So maybe the criticisms against him are maybe quietly catching on. Here's the 1-1 and a swing and a miss. Maybe that was a foul. Could not tell from that angle, but we got a strike two either way, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I think really what it comes down to is, and I can only speak for myself, I'm just tired of the excuses.
I am too. And now here's the 1-2 pitch, and that is a foul ball. The amount of excuses he's got is it's an astronomical amount of excuses that he's gotten.
Service is tied to Dipoto, and when you really think about it, how they've been in town since 2016, and if wins and losses are really tied to these dudes' contracts, when you think about the fact that they only have one playoff appearance in both of their entire Mariner tenure, one hand washes the other when it comes to those two.
Here's the 2-2 swing and a miss, strike three, and down he goes. And the other scary, eerie thing, that when those two extensions happened, I was actually against both of them, because they did the extension right in the middle of the season when they were good and trending.
Right.
And I was like, how about you just wait till the end?
Well, and I, correct me if I'm wrong, both of them don't have contracts for next year.
They don't. This is it. But
this is kind of a hot seat type of season for the both of them. If the Mariners bottom out this year, and God forbid, lose 90 games this year, I would probably assume that's a wrap.
And now here is a line drive, and that's going to be a base hit. And the thing is, the problem I have with firing, as much as maybe we would like to see that, but the question is, will John Stanton actually hire actual baseball people, or will it just be the same two yes men again that we all expect? Because Mariners management, including Howard Lincoln, who's actually the board member of the Mariners, they still have PTSD from the Lou Piniella era, and they'll be like, "Nah, we gotta go with the feelings." Now here's the pitch, Springer. That's a ball.
Well, the thing about it is Dipoto. One of the things that Dipoto you can hang your hat on is his staff has really, really developed a good minor league system that pipelines players. But when it comes to
free agency and off-season moves,
building out a roster, and the worst thing that happened was when that quote that was released between Dipoto and the GM from the Diamondbacks, where Dipoto's publicly saying that free agents kills rosters, which is why he doesn't sign them. That's not a good look. That's not a good look at all.
I mean, maybe, and here's the 1-1, and that is a ball. Like, maybe just make Jerry Dipoto. He's not going to be willing to, but maybe put him like director of scouting. Like, put him in like somewhere in that farm system, because he does well with that. But the
I would be fine if they got a new manager. Like, Dipoto, he's the president of baseball ops. So, I mean, he's
Hollander,
pretty much,
I feel like it's just there.
Yeah, he is just there. I would be fine if Dipoto came back, but we probably would benefit from a new voice in the clubhouse.
2-1, and now here is a fly ball, and that is going to be caught. I mean, with this talent, like, the team has a lot. Like Eric Wedge, he had nothing to work with, and I didn't really like him much, but I also acknowledge that he had nothing to work with. Wakamatsu, he came up with 85 wins out of his ass with a overweight Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah. And if you remember, we also had Mike Hargrove.
Hargrove, I thought, was underrated. I thought he was a great man, considering the situation.
He's a fantastic manager. And if you remember, he quit off an 11-game
in the middle of the season.
It was on an 11-game winning streak, and he quit. And it's because the front offices was telling him how to fill out the lineup card, and he said, "Listen, that's mine," and he quit.
And I think he wanted Ichiro at center field because it made the most sense. But Ichiro's like, "No, I want to be a right fielder."
Yeah. Well, and there was also talk about dropping him a little bit low in the order, and the front office said, "Under no circumstances," and he said, "Deuces."
Yep.
Yeah, Grover was a fantastic coach.
Far
better than Lloyd McClendon.
I never liked Lloyd McClendon from the very beginning. I mean, his only highlight was stealing first base.
That's good. That's good stuff.
It was good stuff. But we got an 0-2 count on Vladimir Guerrero. And now here is the 0-2 pitch. And now here's a throw to second base, and it is not in time. Got a stolen base. Good thing there's 2 outs.
Just imagine if we had last year's roster that carried over, and maybe you don't bring back Teoscar Hernandez and you just trade for a guy like Mitch Haniger, but you keep Suarez. Do the things that you do the normal things that contending teams do, which is just add to it. Maybe you tweak here and there, but
here's the 1-2 ball.
But the thing about it is, it's like when you see your division rival who, and by the way, Texas can draft with the best of them. But
they've been drafting for years. They have a very well-established system, even before Chris Young. They've always had it.
And you know what? They bring up their young players.
And here's a line drive, and that is going to be a base hit, and that's going to be another run for the Toronto Blue Jays, and it's going to be a 4-0 game.
They bring up their prospects. They give them some time.
But when they have holes to fill, they go out and fill them with free agency. Now, do the Mariners need to spend that type of money? You would like it, but it's not necessary. But at least plug your holes with proven winners. And if that means you got to give them a 4-year contract, so be it.
Like, when in 2023, which I thought was the most perfect off season to capitalize. I mean, I was personally not even asking for like going for the Bogarts or the Turners. I was like, no, just go for the mid tiers like Yoshida, who I wanted. And just do the little things. We're not asking for like 10-year contracts. Like nobody's asking for that.
Correct. Like what would this team look had they given, the Cody Bellinger the 3-year deal that he ended up getting with Chicago. And so your outfield,
Dom Canzone.
For sure. You know what I mean? Or even Matt Chapman at third base. Or if you didn't want to go Chapman, you could have gotten JD Davis, who was waived by San Francisco after they brought in Chapman, who, by the way, is actually off to a good start with Oakland this year. So
we lost to Oakland for that. Oh my God.
JD Davis was waived after they signed Chapman. They waived him, and he ends up staying in the Bay Area with Oakland.
That's an embarrassment. I mean, Oakland didn't really have much to spend anyway, but still.
True. But I mean, the thing about the A's is they recognized there was a hole at third, and they went out and scooped up a guy who was only making, I think Davis was only making like 8.5. So.
Well, that's too much for John Stanton, I guess. Yeah. Anything above 1 million is too much for him. But we've got. But yeah, when Kevin Kirby says he likes to spend the money, and thanks to that inning, I need a breather. SeatGeek is a mobile ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and other events. They make the buying experience easier by the app ranking each ticket from 0 to 10 to see if you are getting a good deal, and you can see exactly where you are sitting. I regularly use that app, and I have had nothing but a fantastic experience with SeatGeek. Use my promo code ROOFTOPSPORTS to get $20 off of your first purchase. Link to the code, app, and website will be in the description, so take advantage, and thank you. Yeah, let's use that promo code. If you're up to still go to a Mariners game, use that. But if you want to go to a minor league baseball game, SeatGeek accommodates for that too.
No, absolutely.
If you want to watch Modesto kick some butt.
Or, what's even great is, especially considering minor league tickets really aren't that expensive to begin with, to get $20 off, to go watch some good minor league baseball. I don't think you can beat that deal.
Now, speak of minor league baseball, like which upside do you like more? And if we can rate it at the time, do you like the upside of Julio Rodriguez, Kyle Lewis, and Jared Kelenic, or do you like the upside of Colt Emerson, Lazaro Montez, and Johnny Farmelo? Which trio would have the more upside?
That's a good question. So it's Julio, Kelenic, and say that again.
Kyle Lewis.
Well, what was crazy is I would probably have to say the upside of Julio, Kelenic, and Kyle Lewis. And I understand that Kyle Lewis is no longer in the game, but that guy was electric coming through the minor league system, and of course he won AL Rookie of the Year. Julio is still developing, and as we mentioned it earlier, he's a potential 40-40 guy. And Kelenic, that's still undecided because he has yet to produce from the start of the season to the end of the season. Who knows? Maybe that'll happen this year in Atlanta. But the one thing with Farmelo and Montez and Cole
and we
Emerson
got to ground out at first for Kyle Raleigh
is the fact that we haven't seen him above A ball yet.
I know, and they're already just killing it, and they were killing it in spring training too.
Yeah.
So once those three get called up to Everett, I think Everett's actually going to sell tickets. I think they're going to have a good.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
And if the Mariners are playing like this, I mean, they better. I think Everett might give Mariners a run for their money just a little bit. And now here is Ty France, and that is in there for a strike. And we're at the 5th inning. It's a 4-0 game.
I would also think that, Everett is going to, Everett's going to do well regardless, especially in the summer. A lot, and of course I lived in Snohomish County for years. And if you gave me the option of going to see an Aqua Sox game or driving down to Seattle and paying Mariner ticket prices, generally speaking, I always went to Aqua
Sox easily. Yeah. I'd rather for Mariners games, I'd rather just do what I'm doing right now. And we're looking at an 0-2 count. Here it is. And now here is a line drive. And again, that is a base hit going into the gap. But Ty France, he's not going for second base. I'm like, no, stay, buddy. Don't do that. But he gets on base again. 2 for 2 is Ty France.
And you have to like it, down 0-2, and he's still aggressive.
He still does it. And Kevin Kirby says biggest mistake was breaking up the Cano Seager. I hate to say it. I don't agree with that. They were all old. Cruz is on his last year of his contract. Cano had the suspension baggage, and Seager was pretty much declining. So I don't think going to 2019 with that core would have done any better. I don't think they would.
They tried. 2016, 17, and 18, they tried. They tried to get to the playoffs with those three intact. They got close. They got close a couple times in
2016 was their close. And here's Canzone, and here is a line drive, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. And is that going to mean Ty France? He's going to third base, and the throw to third, and he is out, and the throw to second, not in time. Maniac, wonder what's your thought process on that, especially with a slow Ty France. No, I think he's safe. They called him safe. I thought you got a
fastball that he's turned on, and it was actually dropped very shallow.
The third baseman, he missed the tag. He had the tag, but he missed it.
Oh yeah, because he looked, from first blush, it looked like he was pegged.
He was gone, but
yeah, he was out. But let's check a look at this replay again, because that was a shallow single. Kiermaier was up with it.
He's safe, and I think they're going to review that. And with CB
sure.
Bucknor, you can't trust CB Bucknor on that one, because he's the one that makes the final
very
call.
good throw. Very good throw.
Throw.
Oh, you know what? He missed.
The Mariners are challenging because he was originally out.
Because if you notice the glove, he doesn't touch him on the leg. He gets him on the hip after the foot touched. He looked like he was safe to me.
This is a good challenge. Even if it doesn't go through, I'm still applauding the challenge. I'm still okay with it. Because it was
like, he didn't apply the tag to the leg. If he would have tagged him on the leg, he was gunned out. But as you see it, he doesn't tag him on the leg, and then he completely misses it. Foot drops, and then he touches his hip. He's safe.
He is safe.
Yeah, he's safe. He didn't touch him.
Did not. And let's he's safe. Yeah. CB Bucknor has finally redeemed himself after 2002. Lou Pinella's like, finally, you waited too long, buddy.
That's funny.
That was a very bizarre moment, but Scott Service, that's the first good thing he did this season, was making a challenge. I wish I could do a slow clap, but we got Josh Rojas up to bat, batting 9th in the order, and he doesn't really have much to lose on that one, other than striking out or a lame pop-up or a grounder. But I would like to see him go aggressive on this, or maybe even a bunt. Now, here is the pitch, and that is a ball. And low-key, I do not want the bases loaded, because you cannot trust the Mariners with the bases loaded.
Well,
yes.
But, in this situation with first base open, with one out, you're probably not going to want to drop a bunt, although Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is playing up on the grass. But, with a guy like Josh Rojas, who had good contact his first time up, he's the type of guy that can just line a nice easy single into center field.
And here's the 1-1 pitch, and a swing and a miss, strike two. He misses it, and you do not want to strike out in this situation. You strike out, that means you're leaving. Wonder who is. I think JP is up. You do not want to strike out with a struggling JP Crawford. And now we're looking at a 1-2, and here's the pitch, and a swing and a miss, strike three, and that. I didn't even think that was ideal to swing. Yes, I don't really play baseball, but just by our eyes, it was like, you'd have to swing at that. And now we got our friend flick the switch here. M's on fire. Oh yeah, they're on fire for the other team.
That's funny. Yeah, no, it was Slurve. It was Slurve at 1-1. It was Slurve that he swung. for 1-2, and then it was the exact same pitch in on his hands down, and Rojas,
And now we're looking at J.P. Crawford, and he misses it.
Bit on both.
That's a strike. And that was not a strike, but they called it. He called it. That's CB Bucknor for you. And now here is the 0-1 pitch. And now here's a ground ball foul, and you're just not seeing anything out of J.P. Crawford. Like, this is not the J.P. Crawford that I remember from last year. He just doesn't seem to have it right now. The only thing he really did was hit that home run.
Well, you're also
on my Twitter.
I was going to say, because you're not he's not seeing the fastball.
He's not seeing anything. And now here's the 0-2 pitch, and that is outside for a ball. And also my ex-followers right now, go into my YouTube channel, and because if you're 95 of them, that probably means 95 subscribers. So put that in there and be on this show. And now here is, we're looking at a 1-2 pitch. And here is the 1-2. And that is up high for a ball, and that is a 2-2 count. And at this point, I'm okay with bases loaded. I'm okay if J.P. Crawford walks on it and give Julio Rodriguez a chance, but we got to get this walk or just anything possible. 73 pitches in for Barrios. They're putting some pitches on him. Now here's the 2-2, and that is low for ball 3. And every time it's like that, I always think, like, I think CB Bucknor might call that a strike, but we're looking at a 3-2 count so far. I just hope that
Barrios did show him the fastball twice, but of course that was up and out of the zone. So they're not giving him anything to hit.
And now we're looking at a 3-2, and now here is the pitch. And now here's a ground ball right to the shortstop, the throw to first, and it's in time. And you didn't even see a hustling effort out of J.P. Crawford. He looked like he was just jogging there, and that's going to retire the side. And they still came up with no runs on that. Very frustrating inning.
Having runners on second and third with only one out, there's no excuse for them not to at least get one. But I'll tell you what, he got the fastball. He just, grounded out. So,
yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah, and I'm pointing it out there that I think JP showed. I mean, I don't know what I'm seeing from the angle, but I really feel like JP could have at least made it interesting. I mean, I know JP is not really known for his speed, but I think he really, if he really went 100%, I think it would have at least made the umpire stutter.
Well, in a situation where you're 3-2, anything close to the strike zone, you're going to swing. That did look a little up, and had he taken it, maybe he would have gotten ball 4. But I don't fault him for swinging in that situation.
No, I didn't either. I actually thought maybe CB would have called that a strike anyway. Right. And Josh, you saw the eclipse. That's great. You're in Texas. Congratulations, because I have a friend from Dallas that expressed the same thing. Yeah, Rojas definitely killed that momentum. That's something that we did not expect out of Rojas. So that was kind of out of his character.
Yeah, I mean, he bit twice on that slurve in on the hands, and that last one was, I hate to use this term, but I gotta tip my cap to Barrios right there.
You got to.
That was a pitcher's pitch right there.
Now here's a question: does Edgar Martinez as hitter's coach fix this offense? No. You don't think so?
No. Because here's the thing, man. Brant Brown is a very good hitting coach. We saw what the Marlins were doing last year. They had 2 guys in their lineup. Luis Arias and Jorge Soler last year. But for the most part, that was a productive lineup from 1 to 9. And a lot of it has to do with philosophy. And again, we've talked about this a few times. Is the problem talent, or is the problem philosophy? Right? Just just the approach of how they want to swing the bats. I mentioned earlier, it's like, okay, well, if you are telegraphing to your opponent that you're going to be patient, maybe it might be nice to change it up and not be so goddamn predictable.
Here's the 1-1. And now here is a line drive, and that will be caught by Mitch Haniger. And Griffey for hitting coach, he's a legend, but no. The guy... I
don't think Griffey wants to do it.
No. And here's the thing, lot of people like to say that he may have had leadership, like he had that one lucky year in 09. He never had leadership of anything, in my opinion.
Well, in his Mariner prime, he was a superstar.
Yeah,
You know
so
what I
that,
mean?
but he didn't really have to lead.
He didn't have to lead. You're absolutely right.
But I think even if he had to, I don't think he would have. I think
here's an underrated name for hitting coach. How about Dan Wilson? Catchers
Dan
usually make great coaches. Maybe even a guy like Jay Buhner. Like if we're just throwing out former Mariners, you know what I mean?
Brett Boone.
Brett's a great guy. Maybe even John Allred.
John Olerud, because he knows how to get on base. And here's the 1-1.
He hits.
Swing and a miss. If you look at his strikeout to walkout ratio, you'll never see those numbers again.
No.
We're talking like 100 walks over like 50-something strikeouts. And we're looking at a 1-2 for Schneider. The mustache man, here's the pitch. Foul ball.
That dude was all patience. Like John Allred would have deep at bats until he got something to hit.
And the way he swung at it was just beautiful. It's like the most fundamental, like it was just beautiful to watch. And now we're looking at 1-2 for Schneider. And now here's the pitch. Check swing. Did he go? He did not.
And if you look at Allred's swing, he was never trying to swing for the fences. It was just put bat to ball through the contact zone. And if it's a single, it's a single. And he did hit his dingers, but that wasn't his game. You know, he was all about
strike 3 called, and Castillo with another strikeout.
Ooh, okay.
And Castillo has 6 strikeouts. And I mean, I would say that this kind of a start is slightly better than his last 2. Not really saying much. But there was like some pitches where it was like, Castillo, did you really have to do? You didn't have to do that kind of thing.
But this is a prototypical Luis Castillo start. He'll go 6. Give up 4. You'll have 6, 7 strikeouts, but this is a prototypical Luis Castillo start, and this is something that we saw last year, where that's
the line drive, and that's going to be a fair ball into the corner, and Cavan Biggio is going to go to second base for a double, and Kevin Kirby suggesting Barry Bonds. I don't think Barry Bonds wants to do anything with baseball other than being with the Giants.
I thought Barry was a hitting coach with Tampa.
Let's find out. But I think Barry Bonds had something to do with the Giants as a hitting coach.
I could have sworn he was a coach with Tampa for like a season.
And I think we can. We got hitting going up, and here's the pitch and a swing and a miss, strike 1. I'm looking up Barry Bonds' post-playing career. He can't find anything. Maybe like as a hitting instructor, but he hasn't really done that much. And now we're looking at the 0-1, and here's the pitch, and that is up high for a ball. But Barry Bonds really should be the Hall of Fame. It's still Ichiro is hitting coach. I mean, I don't really see him as much of never really led anything, so I'm not sure.
That would be rather interesting.
Would be interesting. At least he'll catch people that catch flies with their thumbs and their fingers.
I would be okay if Edgar was the manager, but Edgar had already served as
hitting coach. So I think he was done. I think he got burned out quickly.
Yeah, I mean,
from the job it seemed. And we'll look at a 1-2 count for Alejandro Krug. And here's the pitch. Here's a ground ball right to Rojas. The throw to first. And it's in time. Pretty good inning for Castillo in this one. But we go to the top of the 6th, and we've got 4-0 Toronto lead.
Tyson Miller is up in the bullpen.
I'm excited to see that because I wanted to see him get called up before anyone else. But now he has a spot, and I felt like it was only a matter of time it would happen.
I'm curious to know who's going to be the first, first real position player to lose his job, and who's going to be who's going to be that call up. I mean, we've seen Samad Taylor, and I thought he gave this team a little something different.
I think that's the thing. Like, I think if Canzone doesn't hit those 2 home runs, Samad Taylor is having much more playing time.
I actually would have thought they would have kept him up, and maybe if with what's his name going to the IL, I thought they would just keep Taylor up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Another thought was.
I was going to say, Service and his love for bullpen arms.
Oh, he does. But how about another idea is Kyle Lewis is still a free agent. I know he may not be the same, but it's kind of like where we're at this point. Like Canzone hasn't really shown much other than 2 home runs. But if the guy was just healthy, he could have easily been a star.
I think I mentioned this a couple days ago that I wouldn't have a problem if the Mariners took a flyer on Kyle Lewis and put him in Tacoma. You know what I mean?
Did mention that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like if he's healthy, the dude can still hit, right? At least I think he can. And with enough at bats, maybe even in a fourth outfielder role where he's not playing every day, so you don't have the wear and tear. I wouldn't mind having a flyer like that. But the interesting thing is, Dallas Keuchel threw five scoreless for the Rainiers last night. He looked pretty good. There's a lot of intrigue down in Tacoma right now.
Tacoma has been cooking, and I would probably recommend going to a Tacoma game anytime soon, which I am. And now here's a line drive right to Bichette to throw to first, and it's in time, but at least Julio hustled on that one.
Yeah, a little bouncer to short.
And now Josh is just coming up with just names out of random. Craig Biggio or Jeff Bagwell. Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. After the offseason BS and comments, no one wants to play for this franchise. I don't blame any of these guys. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal. I'll say that it was not the most ideal offseason. But that being said, I don't think it's an issue of players not wanting to come here. I think the issue is a lot of these players want to get paid, and the Mariners are just
they're not opening the checkbooks, especially when some of these players are on the critical primes of their careers.
Yeah.
And now here's the pitch. Now here's a ground ball, and that could be a base hit. Could it be? Nope, and that is out.
Yep.
Thought that could have been an infield base hit.
Now it was close
already.
It was close. It was a bang play at first.
It was
good play by Biggio. Good play by Biggio. Like if you're asking me, like if a former Mariner for hitting coach, you can also throw the name Kyle Seager out there.
But Kyle Seager, I believe, wants nothing to do with the organization.
I wouldn't either.
Like Kevin Mathers saying it, and he had Corey Seager even like indirectly calling out the Mariners ownership by saying, "Oh yeah, Texas ownership's great." And if it came from a Seager, I know what he was aiming towards.
That actually looked like it might have been safe at first base.
But Scott Service did not throw the challenge flag.
The horrible thing about Jerry Dipoto and that Kyle Seager forcing him out the door, they did it with an email.
And now here's Mitch Haniger, and that is foul ball. And Eric, to answer your question, I wouldn't do it because I think France, I like exactly where he is, less pressure on him. Rojas, I like where they are. I think they provide, you want value in the bottom of the lineup. It's just the guys in the middle just has to step up. And now here's the pitch.
I wouldn't mind if France moved up in the order, maybe even batting second. In that scenario,
I would say five.
Right now France is probably our most consistent hitter at this point, and I wouldn't mind seeing him in a position where he's hitting in front of Julio. That would be pretty sweet, actually. But I actually think Rojas. Rojas is fine where he's at.
Yeah, just leave him where he is. Blake Snell begged to be a Mariner. Yep, he did. He was begging them, but it was about if he was willing to get. But Mariners just didn't even negotiate with him. Here's the 2-2.
I don't even.
And the most embarrassing part, you had the Giants and the Houston Astros traveling to Seattle to talk to Blake Snell.
Yeah,
and the Mariners didn't even bother.
And knowing
3-2 for Haniger. We're looking at the 3-2 pitch and a swing and a foul ball. All right, you were saying?
Knowing what we know now, and the fact that Brian Wu started the season on the IL, wouldn't it be nice to have Blake Snell in your rotation right now?
It would have been more than nice because like Emerson Hancock, he's got the talent, but I just couldn't see it. and his velocity has declined over the years. And now we're looking at a 3-2. And here's the pitch. And it's outside for ball 4. And take your base, Mitch Haniger.
I thought Emerson had a great spring.
Well, I thought that was ball 4. Yeah. I think the guys miscounted it. It looks like they miscounted. And now here's a 3-2. I really thought that was ball 4 because I saw ball 3 when it was pitching.
Strike 3.
Ugh. Got caught looking.
Did get caught looking.
I thought Emerson had a very good spring, and I thought that this would be a golden opportunity for him, knowing that he was going to get 3 to 4 starts before Wu came back, and an opportunity to, maybe even grab a hold of that spot in the rotation. And I thought his first start was fine, but yesterday that was not ideal. Taking it, the Milwaukee Brewers took full advantage of it. It sucks to see Emerson have those type of starts. But that being said, it's not just him. So,
but yeah, Blake Snell.
It's really not.
I mean, with
Blake Snell. I think
Blake Snell only signed for 2 years, didn't he?
3 years, I think, and it wasn't even that heavy of a contract.
Right.
But the Mariners still couldn't do it. And then you had that article by Adam Jude saying, oh, they only have like $35 million to spend, which I did not buy into that. I thought that was like a cover-up story. That was just Seattle Times protecting their butts, which they are known to do. Like Seattle Times, if you remember, Bob Finnegan, he was the ultimate PR guy for the Mariners.
Yeah, so it's a 2-year $62 million deal. The contract has an opt-out after this season, and the Giants are only paying him $15 million this season, and he's got a $17 million signing bonus. So the reality is, it is for a defending Cy Young Award winner, you're making mid starter money this season. You have to remember when they signed Robbie Ray, coming off of Cy Young, I think he was making 22 that first year in 2022. So the idea that you're basically, Blake Snell is making like arbitration money.
He was, and look at, and they're asking about Danny Hultzen. What happened to him? Injuries just killed him completely.
Shoulder. He tore his rotator cuff twice. And this isn't like UCL surgery, Tommy John surgery, where you're able to bounce back from it. When you tear your shoulder, chances are pretty good you're not going to be able to come back from that.
And we're looking at an 0-1 pitch by Tyson Miller, and he is just going right after it for a strike. He's looking pretty good so far, at least for the first 2 pitches.
Oh, for sure.
Hultzen did get 6 games in 2019, but then that was it.
It was the same injury that ruined Ryan Anderson's promising career.
Ryan Anderson.
And it also ruined Ken Cloud's career.
Ryan Anderson was he was supposed to be the little unit, but then injuries killed him. And I think some say that he actually had work ethic questions. I don't know. And now we're looking at a 0-2, and now here's the pitch, and that is outside for a ball. And Tyson Miller, if you're wondering, is making his Mariner debut for this season.
Yeah.
Mariners quietly signed him, and now he looks like let's hope what he can do for this season. And now here's the pitch, and that is a foul ball. Had a nice little slider right there, but that was nearly fair. Well, that could have been. I think the Mariners are scared of spending after Ray and Cano.
I will definitely co-sign the Cano deal, because the way that it ended, when you look at the 5 years that he was in Seattle, I think he really only put together 2 solid seasons, and then he embarrassed the franchise with the PED. Thankfully we got out from at least a majority of that contract. But I think that really left a lot of egg on the face of the Mariners, and I think they're gun shy of spending big money like that. It's a difference when they gave Julio the deal versus a free agent like Cano. Yeah,
and that was a strike 3 called, and that's his first strikeout for Tyson Miller, and he did look pretty solid. And that was on an 83, and that was a breaking stuff too, went outside the strike zone, but they got a strike anyway. Had a nice spin to it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now we're looking at the second hitter. And now here is the pitch. And that is a swing and a miss. And Tyson Miller is looking pretty sharp right now.
Oh yeah, and he got a nice swing and a miss from Kiermaier right there with the slider.
He really did. And now here's the 0-1, and that is fouled away, and that's gonna be strike 2. I mean, it's a 4-0 game. I know it seems insurmountable, but you still have 3 full innings to do something. Like I'd say that if you can do a shutout inning and you still have a middle of your lineup, you should still be able to salvage it. And now here's the 0-2, and that is fouled away.
Well, we've also seen the Mariners battle back in a few games already this season to get back in the game. One of them was an extra innings affair in which they won, and a couple of nights ago in Milwaukee where they battled back twice in a game to tie the score in the 9th. So this team is capable of getting runs.
Pitch, foul ball.
It all starts with the 1. It's got they got to at least get 1 this upcoming inning.
And it looks like Castillo is pulled from it looks like he's possibly hurt. Trying to figure that out. And now here is the pitch. And that is strike 3 call. That's another strikeout for Tyson Miller. And he is looking pretty good so far.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I think CB Buckner gave him the call. Because that looked a little outside, but he gets the backdoor slider right there, and it looked like they're showing the they're showing the pitch tracker right there, and it looked like it was a little off the plate. But you know what? Big out.
Someone pointed out that CB Buckner made a nice gift for Miller, and I said he has Lou PTSD. And here's George Springer. He's 0 for 3, so at least he's been handled by Castillo and the other. And here it is. And now here's a pop fly, and that is going to go to Haniger, and he makes the catch, and that will retire the side. And an easy 1-2-3, something a breath of fresh air, and good pitching by Tyson Miller on that one.
Yeah, routine fly ball to right field. And the thing that you like outside of the two strikeouts there is the fact that that fly ball soft contact, so they're not getting extended on Miller. So good inning.
Let's hope and make sure. Let's hope that the Mariners can make some kind of rally going, because again, it's 4-0. They have shown they can score.
Yeah. They're still in it.
They are still very much in this game. I'm gonna say hot take. Mariners are still in this game.
Well, my prediction of 5-3 is completely out the window.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But, getting back to the Cano, that Cano deal, I never liked it from the beginning just because he was a second baseman. 10 years, $240 million for a second baseman. I would understand if it was for a first baseman or even a prime corner outfield position. But I don't know.
For Cano, which
Cano.
Was ironic. Well, the ironic thing was they weren't even willing to give A-Rod that kind of money, which was around the same. But then they'll give it to Cano, and it was under the same type of ownership.
Yeah, that's a very valid point.
Do you know what's also hypocrisy from this ownership was Pat Gillick and Woody Woodward were heavily restricted on payroll, especially when the team was good. And then Bill Bavasi, for some odd reason, was allowed whatever he wanted.
He gets a blank check, and then Zarenzik gets a blank check with signing Cano and Cruz. The crazy thing is that the Mariners' offer to A-Rod still would have made him the highest paid player in baseball.
What was it? Which one did you hear? Was it I heard there was a 5-year 95. Lou Piniella said something else.
No, it was the one that I heard was an 8-year, $160 million deal that the Mariners were offering.
It seemed that nobody talks about that. It's a very under thing.
Yeah. So, if you remember, he was saying that everybody understood he wanted to be the highest paid player, but he also said he wanted to win, and it was between the Mariners and the Mets.
The Mets, and then once A-Rod's like, "Hey, I want a billboard in downtown New York," and Mets like, "Okay, get out of here."
Yeah.
Now here's Mitch Garver, and here's the 1-1, And that's a strike. And I think deep down, A-Rod actually wanted to stay. I think there was a part of him that really wanted that he wanted to stay.
You know, the crazy thing is that, you know, he had successfully gotten Junior to leave. You know, I mentioned that a couple days ago, that the reason why Junior left had a lot to do with A-Rod.
Now here's the 1-2 pitch. And now here is a fly ball, and that's going to be caught by the center fielder.
and I would think that, because, you know, I would think that he wanted to, because the Mariners were very good. They got within a game of the World Series, and, you know, there's no telling what that 2001 team would have accomplished with it. And you would probably think that 2002 and 2003 probably would have resulted in the playoffs if A-Rod stayed as well too.
And World
those
Series maybe.
Yeah, and those are 90-win teams right there. And
here's
it was
Cal Raleigh up to bat.
And I think that's why Mariner fans turned on him.
And it's kind of strange that they turned on him, because I argue like the way Griffey did it was a lot worse, because Mariners actually gave him a good offer and he said no.
You know, when you come out and publicly say that winning is your top priority, and then you turn around and take Texas's deal, it's a slap in the face. I mean, that's probably why a lot of old-time Mariner fans still dislike A-Rod, not because of the steroids, but because, you know, he made them look like fools.
Now we're looking at Cal Raleigh, and now here is the 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss, and this is not the Cal Raleigh that we want to see. But what a time it was back in those days.
Fastball.
And we got Cal Raleigh's working on a 2-1 right now.
He got the fastball, and he blew it right past him.
And now here's the pitch, and now here's a pop-up, and that is fouled. And Kevin Kirby came up with a point where Junior left because his friend died in a plane crash and wanted to be closer to home. So that's maybe another under-the-table reason. Who knows?
There was a lot of talk that A-Rod was politicking behind his back to management, and there might have been some backbiting behind Junior's back. A-Rod wanted to be the guy in town. He didn't want to share the spotlight with Junior, and so Junior used
foul ball.
Junior used the safe go field excuse as
a cop out,
as the cop out, but really it was A-Rod.
You know that. The one thing that it was interesting when A-Rod said, the one regret he actually did have, he actually wished that he had 5 more years with Lou Piniella. So basically said he wished that he stayed with the Mariners a little bit longer, because he didn't realize how much chemistry he had with Lou Piniella until he left. And now here we're looking at a 2-2. And now here's the pitch, and that is a foul ball. And I think between manager to player relationship, A-Rod and Lou was easily the best, because Joe Torre and A-Rod was like very frictionful. I mean, Joe Torre never had anything to say about him.
Well, and then also the relationship between him and Jeter. I mean, it was public knowledge at one point they were very good friends, but then, you know, he
2-2 pitch, and that's a ball 3. I thought that was gonna be a strike.
You know, A-Rod's insecurity, he went public with a lot of things that rubbed Jeter the wrong way. And so there was friction with Jeter. There was friction with Joe Torre. There was friction with the fans, because, you know, New York fans were never going to adopt.
Check swing, did he go? He did go, and that's going to be strike 3. And down goes Cal Raleigh. We got 2 outs.
Did he really go?
Probably. And that's the second time he's going out on a check swing, I think.
Yeah, the second time he got caught.
Check swings are driving me nuts. And also, we're closing in on another 100-view day, so pretty good day. Thank you very much for being here, fans, considering how crappy this game is. Now, here's the pitch, and that is a strike.
And I know that, you know, a lot of fans, love Junior. Of course, Junior's great, but A-Rod was the best Mariner ever drafted.
I would say so, but nobody wants. You can't say that. Here's the 0-1. And that is that was another strike. And Ty France, he is looking at an 0-2 so far. He's batting .370. Even if he strikes out, I'm not going to put too much of it on him. And now here's the pitch. And now here's a broken bat, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. And now that's 3 for 3 for Ty France. What a game for Ty.
3 for 3, and the last 2 hits came down 2 strikes.
He did, and Ty France is just that drive line is really paying him off, at least for now. But don't forget, in 2023, he was doing about the same. It's just weird. Like by the time it turned to May, he just completely fell apart.
Fell apart. Yeah, and I think a lot of that had to do. I think that had a lot to do with injury.
Injury caught up to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess move him up to the order. Who knows?
And now there's a meeting on the mound with Berrios,
and he is being pulled out of the game.
Yep.
As he did pitch very well.
Yep.
He did handle the Mariners. His breaking stuff really did it. I hate to say it, but you got to give it credit to him that he pitched very well today.
He pitched well. He obviously pitched better than Castillo. Castillo gave us a Castillo start. Coming into this one, I was expecting much of what we've seen from him, which is 5 innings, 4 runs.
Yeah, and usually he, at least last year, he usually gets away with it. But he's not this year.
I started, it was that I think it started in that Boston series where he had a stretch of like 5 starts where he was getting crushed in the first 3 innings before settling into it and then going 6. But I started seeing a trend with Castillo last year where most every start that he was in, he would dig the Mariners into an early hole, and a lot of those times it was unfortunately insurmountable.
Very much. Wait, move France to lead off until no. France is don't do that. No. You gotta let JP figure it out. JP's a professional hitter, and I would bet money on JP will be able to turn this around at the most. And I mentioned this earlier that I wouldn't have a problem seeing Ty France hit in front of Julio if they went JP, Ty, and Julio 1, 2, 3 with Polanco hitting 4th. As long as Ty France doesn't hit into double plays, and considering how tough the infield has been this season, what do you think of Cole Young's ETA? Like, considering that he's off to a pretty good start in the minors, like, do you see him as a 24 in the late season or more of a 25?
Most likely 25. Like a lot of things have to go wrong for him to show up in 24.
Like Rojas has to be gone. He has to completely suck, or Urias.
No, like injuries. Exactly, injuries and just a lack of production.
I would wonder if JP's concussion, like potential collision, may have something to do with it.
You would think that maybe like if it's a second base situation, or a third base situation, you probably think that maybe Ryan Bliss would probably get the first call, but that would require maybe moving Polanco to third base,
now,
which I guess he
pitched to Canzone. That's a foul ball, but I heard that Ryan Bliss isn't doing too hot in spring training on the offensive side.
Well, there's a few guys down there who have gotten off to a slow start. Cade Marlowe is leading. I think he's leading the team in strikeouts. But again, I think a lot of teams are
0-2 pitch, and that's a foul ball.
Are attacking the Mariners and their affiliates in a certain way. So I don't know.
Someone would be okay with Rojas and France 1 and 2 if until Julio and JP are hitting their weight. And we're looking at out. And now here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that's going to retire the side.
Yeah. On 3 straight pitches. Yeah. Unbelievable.
And shall we depressingly do our thing on the 7th inning? Let's do it. All right, everyone up on your feet, or you can sit and be sad. And it's time for Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
I don't care if I ever get back, so let's root for the Mariners.
If they don't win, it's a shame.
It's already a
For
shame.
it's 1,
1,
2,
2, 3
3
strikes.
strikes. You're out at the old ball.
Ball game. And I'm too depressed. Louis. Oh no. We gotta
go.
not lose. Yeah. That's all we got. All right. He says mute. Of course, flick of the switch says mute. You mute on everything.
Mute.
What's next? Mute my play-by-play.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, don't be a hater. Don't be a hater.
Let him have it. Let him have his moment. Remember, I'm not the blocking guy.
No. Here's the thing, right? Like, if you want to mute, go ahead and mute. But the one thing that you won't see is blocking, censoring, all that PC nonsense. So yeah, do what you got to do.
Plus, blocking takes work. I'm too lazy to even do it. You have to do this, do that.
Like, but you got to be like an egotistical asshole to block somebody. You know what I mean? That's just.
And now here's the line drive, and that's going to be caught by Canzone. And I wonder if Tyson Miller's still pitching. They're still letting him pitch.
He's still
I like
still
that.
there.
But
good play by Canzone and left.
But that's what we do when we're losing. Is Service does exactly what that he should be doing with his pitchers when they're winning. No. He does exactly what he should be doing when the team is winning, but he doesn't do that. Like he uses 4 pitchers in 2 innings, it feels like.
Yeah.
Now here's the pitch.
He does do that.
And I still feel like it's a very Kevin Kirby had a question. Why in football and basketball when someone gets drafted to go straight to the majors, but baseball takes years? Well, have you tried to hit a fastball before in baseball? And now here's the pitch. And that is a ball. I mean, do you have your take on that?
Yeah, because I think a lot of it is, in basketball, generally speaking, the development is a shorter period. So by the time they get to the NBA, they're NBA ready. And same with football, but you have to also stand in football. Their development is in college. So, they're coming out in their junior year a lot of times. So, especially high round picks, they're NFL ready. But with baseball, you have to think a lot of these guys are coming from high school, maybe college in a system that it isn't really, a pro system. So they're going to take 18 months down on the minors before they're going to get their call.
And we're looking at a 1-2 for Bo Bichette. And now here's the pitch. And now here's a line drive. And that is caught by JP Crawford. Nice catch by JP. Yeah. And now we've got 2 down. Good defense by JP. Maybe that'll get his confidence going.
Yeah. There you go. Great play.
And great play. My other point is don't forget, between baseball, basketball, and football, baseball is the most mental heavy sport out of all of them.
100%.
With hitting, 100%. You can have all the talent in the world and you can take all the juice you want, but you still got to hit the ball, which takes a lot of repetition.
Right. And that's the reason for the development in the minors. Because I don't care if you were a great hitter in high school or a great hitter in college. There is a big discrepancy between college baseball and minor league baseball, and the talent level is, there's a huge divide. So you have to prove that you can be able to handle it.
And another 1-2-3 inning, and Tyson Miller has been pitching outstanding for the Mariners.
Yep.
We go scoreless to the top of the 8th. It is still 4-0. And I'm telling you, I know it's crazy, but Mariners can still salvage this. It's not over. They've already done it before. Even as a 2024 team, they have done it. They can still do this.
Well, it's gonna the first thing that has to happen is Josh Rojas he's gonna lead off this top of the 8th right here, and it's gonna require Rojas to get on. Number one, it has to start with your leadoff guy, and JP is gonna have to shrug off his he's gonna have to have a short-term memory and shrug it off and do something with this at bat, whether it's laying down a bunt, whatever the case may be. The Mariners need runners on, and they need runners in scoring position.
And that's what I would like to see from Scott Service. I think he's a great people person, can connect with players, but can he get them riled up and get going? Because that is something Lou Piniella mastered. He knew how to connect with the players, and he knew how to rile up his players.
Well, Lou, the great thing about Lou is, by the time Lou got to Seattle, he had already won a World Series in Cincinnati. But the other thing is he just knew how to push the right buttons at the right time, which is something that Scott Service does not possess. The ability to, to recognize certain situations and push the right buttons.
And the only time that Lou Piniella actually had a complete team was maybe like 2 of those years. 2001 was even 2001. Like, yeah, it was a great team, but they didn't really have superstar power type of team.
No, but the thing about that, and that's why I always talk about the one thing that made that great was the fact that you're absolutely right. I mean, you might say Brett Boone, I think he hit 33 that year.
37.
37. And the reality is that team was not built around power. It was built around speed. It was built around speed and contact. Ichiro, great contact hitter. And that's the thing. It's like they were patient, but they were also aggressive, and it was about getting on base.
And then here's Josh Rojas. And we're looking at the 0-1. And now here's the pitch. And that is a strike. Or that was a ball. But the best possible team Lou had was easily the 95 team out of all of them, in my opinion. He had everything he could have wanted. And now here's the 1-1 pitch.
I would still take the 2000 or the 2001 team over 95. You know why? Because the 2000 and 2001 team had pitching.
And they had balance.
They had balance in pitching.
Here's a 2-1. That is a strike. Here's another hot take. I'll take the 2000 team over the 2001 team. Because
I think I probably would too.
Because the 2002 team was almost similar and they won 93 games. And now here's the 2-2 pitch. And now here's a pop-up. And is that going to drop in? Could that drop? And it gets in the glove of Bichette.
Yeah, the problem with the 95 team is for the majority of that season, outside of Randy Johnson, they had a mediocre starting rotation. And that didn't
and Tim Belcher
that didn't change until the trading deadline.
And they had a young Bob Wolcott and Chris Bosio was
Wolcott.
Bobby Wolcott tragically disappeared, and I think injuries may have had something to do with it. And now here's the pitch to JP, and that is out inside for a ball.
And I think actually, I don't. If my memory serves me correct, it started in the '96 year. That
1-0 pitch. Ball. A
I
strike.
I don't think Wolcott had the stuff to be a starter, major league starter.
Maybe should have been reliever. Maybe.
I think in '95 it was just a perfect blend of.
Now here's a fly ball to deep right field, and that is gone. The Mariners get on the board, and that is JP.
There
Crawford.
it is.
He puts on the board with the home run, and I remember I said that diving catch may be that confidence booster, and look where we are. It is now a home run by JP Crawford, and now it's a 4-1 game.
Yeah, he got a slider down that hung right over the bottom portion of the zone, and JP with a quick bat puts it out. Very good piece of hitting for JP, and that was huge. That was huge, not just for tonight's game, but also for JP himself. Hopefully, this is a sign of good things to come.
And
look where that ball was at.
Home runs he hit; those were just murdered. Now here's Julio. Can he do something? And that gets in there for the strike. And yes, it was out of the zone, but I do think it was a strike because of the weird angles of that camera does not help.
Yeah, the thing about that was it was a little down, but he got the that bat.
And now here's a fly ball to left field. Is that going to be enough? Nope.
Nope. Yeah.
That's something you don't get at Root Sports. You don't get the at least this one you have full of the energy and the comedy around it, but in Root Sports you just get the scripted things.
Well, Julio just missed it though. I mean, he got some good extension on that as well too. He just missed it.
And they're showing that hit by JP Crawford, and that was just beautifully hit.
He got out in front of it. That was a good piece of hitting by JP.
And now here's Polanco. Did he go? Looks like he did not go. Let's hope that Polanco can get something on base, because as soon as JP hits a home run and we thought maybe Julio can capitalize, he does not. Now here's Polanco with a 1-0 count so far, and here's the pitch. And that is a foul tip, and now he's down to a 1-1 count so far. Paul Hahn says, is Stanton watching? Probably not. Probably just watching his bank account.
Yeah, that is a good question. I wonder if Stanton does watch his baseball team.
Eric said exactly what I said. And now here's the pitch. Strike 2. Kevin Kirby says Dave Sims sucks. Well, that's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this just for you, so you don't have to listen to Dave Sims.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll say this: if you're not a Dave Sims fan, fair enough. But he is one of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet.
Yeah, you could just tell.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Love Dave.
And now here we're looking at a 1-2 pitch, and here it is, and that is a ball. And speak of nice dudes, a guy that I thought from a former Mariner that wasn't the nicest dude. And look at Julio Rodriguez just goofing around. And I know it's all about having fun, but when you're down 4-1, I don't think that's a time to be a little goofing around. And here's the 2-2. And that is a ball, 3-2. Paul Hahn,
Yeah.
you like John Stanton? I put that out there. I put a nice explanation on why you like Stanton. I want to hear this. I'm really interested in this. And now here's Polanco. Here's the 3-2. And that is outside for ball 4. And we got a walk for Jorge Polanco. And I just have to do this.
Why do you like him?
Because he gets on base.
He gets on base. And also another milestone, another 100-view day.
Just a quick note. Brett DeJesus is warming up in the Mariner bullpen.
Well, looks like they're doing some debut.
Yeah, a little debut action tonight.
But Paul, tell me more. Give me more explanations why you like John Stanton. Like, I'm really curious to know. I won't block you, I swear.
Warming up in the Toronto bullpen right now is Chad Green. So it looks like Toronto may make a corresponding move on the mound. But listen, if you like Stanton, fine, but understand that he is an extension of the Nintendo ownership. Period. Point blank.
And fun fact, John Ellis and Howard Lincoln are still part of this team as board members. So they they have just as much power as if not, they have more power than the owner.
Well, they're probably minority owners, which means they're shareholders, which means profits matter.
Yeah, that's what they're all about. And Howard Lincoln made that clear.
Oh yeah.
No, Paul,
sure.
no, stop. No, just say it. Just spit it out, man. And now here is Mitch Haniger up to the plate.
Tell me why. Tell me why, Paul.
Pitch. Come on, we just want to know. I'm not gonna humiliate you or do that. Just
you know what this was? This was a good troll job. That's what this is. You know what I mean? He's now he's quiet, and now he's expound on it. He just wanted to get a reaction, and he definitely got a reaction out of you.
Well, all he said was like, "Hey, tell me why. Let's go."
Also,
at least I didn't say it's blasphemy. I'm not that kind of guy.
Blasphemy. Ryan Stanek also just got up in the Mariner bullpen.
Ryan Stanek, who has been one of the better bullpen pitchers as well. And Daddy Dennis says, go Seahawks. Yeah, that was a thing in 2013. Like when it was in April, when it was already midseason form, you already heard Seahawks chants in the crowd. Here's the 1-1.
I'll one up on that. Go Cougs.
Oh, you're a Cougs guy. I used to be 100%. A Huskies guy, but then considering my experience at UW,
I've never been a Husky guy.
No,
never.
I didn't even like them I think they shouldn't have been in the Final Four. Nah. And the Michigan game really showed.
I'll tell you what, that was a great. I was so happy for Michigan.
I was too. And here's the pitch, and that is a swing and a miss, strike 2. No, like the Apple Cup, when the guy like dropped this pick 6, that really rubbed me off the wrong way. I was like, that's all you need to know about UW is that.
That was a bullshit call that extended that final drive. I'll say that I think it was a roughing the passer.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And you have UW screaming, "Oh, East Coast bias! We should be number 1." It's like, no, East Coast bias was actually helping you get that top 4. And now we're looking at a 2-2.
Husky fans are the most insufferable, horrible fans.
I am a Husky, and my experience at UW was not good. And that's where I got the idea. Kevin, you can hate Jim Harbaugh all he wants, but he's a fantastic coach.
You know what? I was actually actively rooting for the Seahawks to make Jim Harbaugh
I was
their head
too.
coach.
I actually made it my cover photo on Facebook. Seahawks fans like, no, it was because of the rivalry. Get over it. Here's the 2-2 pitch.
You mean the non-rivalry?
Call, and I knew it. What's up?
I said, you mean the non-rivalry?
I guess so. Oh, and flick of the switch. Did you just talk crap about Husky fans? Yes.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
Well, Cuban did just sell his Mavericks ownership control, but he still maintains like of how what he wants to do with the team. So that's not really much. And I don't think Mark Cuban wants anything to do with Seattle anyway.
Well, he was vocal about the Sonics leaving Seattle. So from that standpoint, he's good in my book. He
also voted for the Sacramento move. And interestingly, the Lakers actually supported it too.
Yeah.
Which I thought was super random, but maybe had something to do with that Kings-Lakers rivalry. Who knows?
Yeah, it was an opportunity to get the Kings out of California. Yeah, for sure.
I wonder if Golden State was like, get the hell out of there. The Clippers were maybe like, get the hell out of there. So maybe we get all the California votes because nobody disclosed it except those two. So I think it was the Warriors because the Warriors, like president at the time, I think he was a Seattle guy. So I think Warriors would have voted yes. And I think all the Californians would have voted no. I mean, yes, of course.
Well, it was all David Stern. David Stern was the one that helped rip the Sonics out of town. He was the one that refused to move the Kings. And I think publicly he was saying that his 2 biggest regrets were having the Grizzlies leave Vancouver and the Sonics leaving for Oklahoma City. So he didn't want to do it to Sacramento. And it was like, well, I don't trust anything David Stern ever said. So there had to have been.
It kind of helps when Sacramento had an NBA guy and Kevin Johnson as their mayor, so he had the connections to make it work.
Well, and I also think he wanted Vivek Ranadive as an owner.
And now Vivek Ranadive wants to be an owner for a baseball team for the A's, so that's something to pay attention to. Like, if by any means, if Vegas falls apart, I think Sacramento's a sleeper city. Yeah. They have a good fan base. They have a growing market.
Well, the thing about Ranadive is his net worth is only $700 million, and the guy who owns his name is Lacobe. He's the guy I think that owns the Warriors, and he has been vocal about wanting to buy these. Like, he would step up and buy the A's. And so if that Las Vegas thing fell apart, I would probably think that John Fisher is going to sell to the highest bidder.
Probably, yeah. And now here's the pitch.
And the A's might stay in Oakland.
Oh, this guy has a fastball of 98. Nice. Oh, and about saying Sacramento can't put their textbooks, the entire state of California can't even do that. And they spend more than almost anyone in the entire country on education. Yeah. Yeah. So it's not just Sacramento. It's literally the entire state. It's a mess down there. Here's the 0-2.
Gavin Newsom, one of the worst governors in the 50 states.
We're on the YouTube algorithm. We're on the YouTube here.
Yeah.
Careful.
Sorry, Gavin.
Now here's the 1-2. And now hey, Gavin, you have a nice hairdo, okay? And I commend you that you have an actual wine business and you built that from the ground. Unless that was from your mommy and daddy. But aside from that, at least you didn't make the business fail. And you have a nice hairdo.
He's got beautiful hair.
He is a handsome guy. I mean, objectively speaking,
base hit.
It is a base hit. Portland is desperate for baseball. Portland's got their own. Portland.
Well, I'll say this: Portland would actually be a really solid baseball town, and it would be an awesome rivalry with Seattle. But I'll tell you what, if there is one town that probably deserves a Major League Baseball team, it's the ability to make Montreal whole again. Montreal should never have the Expos.
Montreal had a lot of just bad timing and luck.
Yeah.
94 made it the worst. 97, they had a baseball deal, and then the owner pulled out last second. Now here is the pitch. I actually talked to Jeff Facero about that. He had some thoughts about that whole 94. He had a lot to say about that. And I do have a video available on that as well on my channel if you want to check out the Jeff Facero video.
I will have to check that out because, that 94 Expos team.
Oh, what do we got here? Is that a balk? That is a balk.
Wow. A major league pitcher with a balk, huh?
That almost never happens. It's actually hard to balk these days.
Yeah, it's rare.
I remember it was much more common in 2000s, and then now you don't really see it anymore.
Yeah, you can't. You can't make any moves like that. You have to have one solid movement to the plate. You can't flinch.
Yeah, Montreal had a crappy stadium. That is true.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, man. Olympic Stadium wasn't the greatest, but they had a deal for a stadium in place. They had the land, and it was for Labatt Field. And then what ended up happening was the private money that was supposed to come from the ownership group. They
never materialized.
Well, they didn't want to pay it. They just wanted it completely subsidized, and it fell apart.
I'm okay with that hit by the pitch at this point. I just want a double play opportunity. But this guy's having a very tough debut. The only thing I saw out of him was a nice 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Russ trying to get a baseball team in Portland. He tried to help get the stadium south of Safeco Field / T-Mobile Park, and it proved that he was all talk about that.
Well, that felt well once Hansen was found to have tried to rig a little election down there in Southern California. Once the Clippers
owners,
NorCal.
No, he tried to fund the lawsuit as a desperate move to get Sacramento, which I thought was unnecessary because it was already over.
It was once what's his ass Steve Ballmer left that group. That's all she wrote.
It was over. Here's the pitch. And the other thing that bothered me too was during the very critical meetings of that board, with the Board of Governors, Steve Ballmer was in a Microsoft event. So I sensed the red flag there of why we didn't really have a case.
I heard that Chris Hansen rubbed the NBA owners wrong during some of those meetings with the board.
That's what I heard too. He doesn't.
Yeah,
he's not exactly a good negotiator type guy.
They wanted Steve Ballmer as an owner, which is why that ownership group was originally very good looking for the NBA, because they wanted Ballmer. And then
once they saw Hansen, they're like, no.
And that's why the NBA came to him, backdoor and said, "Hey, would you be interested in buying the Clippers?" Yeah.
And it couldn't have, and it happened at the most weirdest circumstance possible. Good thing. I should make a video of how bugging someone's phone cost the Sonics coming back to Seattle.
And then, of course, the vote on Occidental, that was never going to happen.
Yeah, double play ball, the throw to second, the throw to first, and it's in time. I think I should be allowed to say this, but that vote, the 5-4 vote, was when I really saw the true colors of Seattle City Council. And that's where you really saw its character.
Well, if you know the history of Seattle, they have never picked up a finger for professional sports ever. Their whole deal is the only way we'll do it is if it benefits us. And if you remember through that whole Chris Hansen debacle, they always wanted him to do something with Key Arena because that was city-owned property, and they were they didn't want him to build in the they wanted him to do something with
Key Arena. It was all a political ploy. I think the whole traffic thing was just a convenient excuse, and even the public money thing wasn't a very convenient excuse.
Sure.
Because it was a very good deal. Here's the pitch, and that is way inside for a ball.
And the things that Chris Hansen was saying about how it was how it wasn't feasible. Well, Oakview Group came in and proved that.
They don't mess with them. Tim Lywicki, don't mess with that guy. He's a stadium artist. Here's a 2-1.
He definitely made it feasible.
And he asked for no public funds.
Yeah. And then also, it's going to be Oakview Group that brings the Sonics back to town. 100%. That's going to.
The rumor is that the owner of the Kraken is the first in line for it. And now here's the 3-1. Now here's the line drive, and that's going to drop in for a base hit, and that's going to score in another run to make it 5-1. And we are looking at a 5-1 game, and looks like that might be the actual dagger. I hate to say it, but I think it's the dagger. I
would probably agree with you. And at this stage of the game, DeHoos can't. It's a situation where he can't locate right now, and as we saw with Castillo earlier in the game, you're not going to be able to get fastballs past this team.
No, it's just that Mariners just ran into a pitcher that pitches nothing but breaking stuff, and for some reason they haven't figured it out. Here's the 0-1. Now here's the throw to second base, and that is not in time. Cal Raleigh just has to somehow figure that out.
Was that Dalton Varsho that scored? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. NBA goes broke and a new league gives Seattle might be the best chance. I mean, with the state that the NBA is in, with everyone just shooting 3-pointers, it's like the Sonics nostalgia, I think, is the way to make it work for them, and like to maybe get the people interested in the league again just by having the name Sonics in there. Here's the pitch, and that's a ball. I mean,
Seattle has always been a good basketball town. And, the thing about it is, me personally, it's not the same league as it used to be. But that being said, if they announce tomorrow that, Seattle's going to be made an expansion franchise with Las Vegas, I would probably assume that Seattle would go crazy.
Oh no, I think it'd be just as exciting as the Seahawks winning a Super Bowl, if not more exciting. And now here's the 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
And now the bigger debate question: what happens first? Sonics win a championship, or the Mariners win a World Series, or even make it to the World Series?
Well, I'll say this.
I'll rephrase it like this: what happens first? The Mariners making it to a World Series, or the Sonics coming back?
I'd say Sonics coming back.
Coming back.
With the pace of this, the way this organization's going, and looks like we got a strikeout, and we're going to the top of the 9th. Last chance for the Mariners, and the fact that we're talking about basketball shows how boring this game really has been to follow.
Where it ended up being, JP, the JP home run was the only run that they scored.
Yeah.
What NBA teams have regained after losing one? I wonder who did.
Well, let's see. What NBA teams have regained a team? Well, the last one was Charlotte. So
Charlotte, that's right.
Yeah.
I think everyone else, they kind of just lost everything since. Yeah, I haven't really heard any other NBA team that redeemed themselves. Or New Orleans Jazz, and then New Orleans.
Yeah, but that took years though. When
look where we're at.
Right. I will say that had the NBA just done right by Oklahoma City by keeping the Hornets there, because if you remember, they played in Oklahoma City for 2 years when they were displaced by Katrina, and had they just made that permanent, we wouldn't have been in this situation. But
I have a better one. Had Mayor Greg Nichols at least allow a ruling by Judge Peckman, we would have a much different outcome.
I'll go even further, and I'll say this, right? When the coffee guy,
Howard Schultz.
Thank you. When Howard Schultz bought the team, the reason why Ackerley sold the team was because after the 98 lockout, that ushered in max contracts. And when that happened, the lease with the Key Arena became even more problematic. It was one of the worst leases in professional sports. And so when Schultz bought it, he tried to go to the city to try to renegotiate the lease to at least give them some flexibility, where even if they sold out, they would probably break even at best, right? Because Schultz always said that he got into it not to lose that kind of money, and they lost a lot of money in this 5 years.
$60 million.
Yeah, they lost a lot of money, and so that lease was problematic, and the city of Seattle would not renegotiate that lease with them. And so
also Howard Schultz kind of went into that situation. He went into the whole ownership very blindly too. He didn't know he was getting. He didn't know he had to deal with Gary Payton that much.
for a guy who was a billionaire, he really didn't cross his T's and dot his I's with that purchase. He thought it would just be cool to own a team, and he wasn't really thinking long term. But he also was the dude that burned Wally Walker when that offer came in. Wally Walker asked him, he's like, all right, before you say yes or no, give me a week so I can put together an ownership group to see if they would actually buy it. And Howard Schultz Schultz told him, okay, no problem. And literally the next morning accepted the deal from Clay Bennett.
And then Howard Wally Walker like, hey, nice to meet you, Clay Bennett. And it was a very weird situation.
And that's the thing. It's a public trust. And, Howard Schultz sold the franchise right down the river.
And now we got Mitch Garver. He's working at a 1-2 count. If Mariners can do something, we can stop talking about basketball. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be a strike 3, and he knew it. Mariners make us change subjects. Now I kind of feel bad for Aaron Goldsmith and Mike Flowers. They have to come up with something out of nothing.
And that was the beauty of Dave Niehaus in his prime, where he had the ability to tell stories in games where they were like this.
Yeah, and he did it all with baseball. Here's the pitch, and that is a foul ball.
That dude was a wordsmith.
Oh man, Dave Niehaus, he knew how to make a 100-loss Mariners season look like you're at Game 7 of the World Series every single day. That's why he was so great. Here's the 0-1, and that is low for a ball. And it's still heartbreaking that he never got to see a World Series call ever.
Yeah. Well, that's very sad. But we're never going to see play-by-play guys like Vin Scully.
Oh, and here is a fly ball to right field. Is that enough? That is gone. And Cal Raleigh hits a home run to put it is 3. And it's now 5-2 Toronto.
There you go.
As we're talking about Dave, hits the home run. Maybe some Dave magic was in there.
And let's see. He got a pitch right out over the heart of the plate. You can tell that he was trying to get a little bit more outside, but he left it right there. And
with one out, one out. I still think it's not possible. No, it's not impossible, but it's not good odds. But with one out, maybe you can still salvage something. At least make it interesting.
It's not impossible, but it's very improbable.
Exactly.
But good for Cal. He gets his first homer of the season. He gets on the board, and that's something that Cal needed as well too, because throughout the course of this first week and a half, he's been struggling a little bit.
Yep. And then here's Ty France. He's working on an 0-2 so far, and now here's the pitch.
See if Ty can get into one.
Let's get into home run.
And
if he can hit this home run, then maybe things can actually get more interesting.
Well, there was the fastball right there.
And we're looking at the 1-2 count. And now here's the pitch. And here's a fly ball to right field foul. He had the idea, but just could not get the right part of the barrel on it. And we're looking at strike 2. But hey, remember, strike 2.
And Ty's been hitting very good in an 0-2 hole. He's been very selective. He's been very patient, but he's also
1-2 pitch outside for a ball, 2-2.
He's put a really good swing on the ball today.
I hate to say, as much as this game has been just a disaster, it was still very winnable the entire time. And now here's the 2-2 pitch, and that is a foul ball. Like, they had 2 runners on base at one point, and they still couldn't salvage it. Josh, he's an Astros fan. Come on, Mariners. If the Astros can do it, then you can do it. And now we're looking at a 2-2. And now here's the pitch. And here is a fly ball to right field. Does that have enough? Nope. It's going to go right to the warning track. Marine layer kind of territory. And now we got 2 outs down to the final out.
It's warning track power.
And now we're talking a 2-out rally, which... I mean, let's be in reality. I'm not sure about that, but Dom Canzone, maybe at least do another garbage time home run. I'll take it. At least put yourself as a leader again. Just put yourself ahead of JP Crawford. Now here's the pitch. And he misses it for a ball. So he's at least ahead of the count on this one. 122 views. I really appreciate it, everyone. We're looking at the 1-0. Now here's the pitch. And that is popped up, and that is foul. I really just don't want this game to end because I'm having too much fun with this. Even with a losing effort, it's still a blast to do these games.
I'll tell you what, this was great. Even, outside of this, we had, we bashed on Husky fans and talked Sonic basketball.
We did. And now we're talking the 1-1. And now here's a ground ball, and that gets right through for a base hit. And that's going to be another hit for Dom Canzone. He's going for second base, and the throw to second, not in time. And the Mariners are still breathing that small bit of air that they have left in this game.
And now all they need to do now is for Rojas to get on, and then they need JP to get on.
And then you got Julio. So maybe this isn't a crazy
and then Julio
idea.
To end it.
This is where you say it's just one at bat at a time.
Right. Just keep the line moving, right? It's not it's you don't need the 3-run home run. You can keep the line moving here with
just
2 outs.
Chipping it. You'd rather just have them internally bleed rather than do anything crazy.
Dom, and Dom got a fastball right over the heart of the plate and
a swing and a miss. And Josh Rojas, come on, man. Don't do what you did in the last at bat when you had an actual opportunity. And I am really shaking. I know it's only 3 runs, or it is 3 runs. Here's the pitch. And that is foul ball. And now you're down to your final strike. And Rojas, you've been the best player on the Mariners so far, but put yourself in the opportunity to still keep it alive. But you've been 0 for 3, so your batting average is probably below 400. Fans are standing in Toronto. And now here is the 1-2 pitch on the way. Check swing. Did he go? He did not, and we are still alive in this game.
And this is the inexperience of a young guy like Josh Rojas, where, the thing about this is you need to be calm in this.
We're looking at the pitch, and we're looking at the 2-2 pitch on the way, and it's low for ball 3. Full count 3-2.
He just needs to take it. Yeah, he just needs to take a deep breath, man. Take a deep breath and don't get too high in this moment. All you need is a base hit here.
Absolutely.
Or even take a walk.
And now here's the 3-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss. Strike 3, and the ball game is over. The Mariners fall 5-2 against the Toronto Blue Jays. Most of it was 4 runs given up by Luis Castillo.
Yep.
Mariners at least made some kind of a game out of it, but it just wasn't enough. And must I say, a very tough game once again. And I think maybe we should.
And that was, and again, this is the inexperience of a guy like Josh Rojas, where he's got big eyes to do something special. And it's like, listen, man, you that fastball that was up and out, way out of the zone. There was no need to chase in that moment, but it is what it is.
It's something that he does, and that's something that we need the coaching to remind them once again. And the game has just ended, and let's take a quick break, as I would love to. We will love to do a post-game show just so I can post a post-game show. So I'll play this commercial, but once I'm back, we'll get started. SeatGeek is a mobile ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and other events. They make the buying experience easier by the app ranking each ticket from 0 to 10 to see if you are getting a good deal, and you can see exactly where you are sitting. I regularly use that app, and I have had nothing but a fantastic experience with SeatGeek. Use my promo code ROOFTOPSPORTS to get $20 off of your first purchase. Link to the code, app, and website will be in the description, so take advantage, and thank you. And we are back, and we are going to start this post-game show in just a few moments in 3, 2, 1. And the Mariners have just dropped another game. They are now 4-7. They have lost 5-2. with 4 runs given up by Castillo, another run given up by the bullpen. And before we get started, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification, donate to the channel as well. And let's get right to it. So let's go over just the box score and just in general. JP Crawford went 1 for 4. He did hit that home run, so good for him on that. Julio struggled 0 for 4. Polanco 0 for 2, but he did walk a couple, I guess. Mitch Haniger went 0 for 4. Ugh, that's not good. Then Mitch Garver 0 for 4. He can't have that. Cal Raleigh at least hit a home run. Ty France was arguably the MVP of this offense for the Mariners. Dom Canzone 2 for 4. Actually did pretty well. And Josh Rojas went 0 for 4. And now to the pitching portion. Luis Castillo struggled. It was really just a couple bad innings where just that one bad pitch really changed the course of it. But 6 strikeouts he made up for. Tyson Miller shined in his debut. And the bullpen guy, I can't even say his name, but I'll just say his first name at this point. It was Brett. He got 1 strikeout and a walk. So let's talk about things that really went wrong in this game. So what do you think went wrong?
Well, I mean, the most obvious is the offensive performance. I mean, you know, your 2 through 5 hitters, Julio, Polanco, Haniger, and Garver were 0 for 14 tonight. That's not going to cut it. It also didn't help that JP was 0 for 3 before he hit the home run. So literally, you're 1 for 18 with your first 5 hitters. There's just no continuity. There was no aggression. There was no continuity, with this lineup tonight. The only guy that really did his job tonight was Ty France. Dom Canzone checked in with a pretty decent game. So the bottom 3 of your order is performing much better than your top 5. And that's the thing. It's even in a situation where Luis Castillo gives up 4, you're still in this game. I mean, you had a good performance from Tyson Miller out of the bullpen, so they did. That's the thing. It's like even with even down in a 4, with down 4 runs, they were still had the ability to do it. And I said it right at the top of the game. I mean, they've gotten to Jose Barrios before. This is not like it's an insurmountable task, but they literally could not get anything going tonight, with the exception of Ty France.
Yeah, absolutely. With the exception, Ty France was like literally the only player other than Dom Canzone. And the other scary fact, and someone brought it up in the chat, was 0 for 14 from Julio Rodriguez down to Mitch Garver. That is something you cannot have. Like, even if all of these guys hit at least 1 hit, or at least one of them walked a little bit more, Mariners probably win this game. So when you have the bottom parts of your lineup actually stepping up, but you have the middle parts of your lineup, like your upper parts, not really doing much, you're not really going to win this game. And usually, even with a 4-run effort given up by Castillo, you still could have won that game. Like, even like
this wasn't yesterday when you're down 8 runs where it seems completely insurmountable. I mean, a 4-run lead is not a lot, and it's a shame that the offense really didn't start clicking until the 8th and 9th inning. Squandering opportunities. And that's the thing. It's inexcusable. I guess the question moving forward is when are we going to start seeing Service maybe shovel the lineup a little bit?
Yeah, like some great points that people have made. Maybe make Julio the number 3, Polanco the number 2, and other things, like I guess maybe move up Ty France. Now, I'm not saying move him all the way up, but maybe like a number 5 at this point, because Mitch Garver is really proving that right now he is not being a number 4 or 5 hitter right now. Like, he is probably gonna have to move down just a little bit more. And surprisingly, Canzone has actually been playing pretty decent in the last few games. Like, it doesn't show it now, but not batting below 200 anymore, which we were really used to. And I guess we might as well talk about the positive things. Is JP Crawford at least hit a home run, Cal Raleigh hit a home run, and Ty France and Dom Canzone play pretty well today. And also Tyson Miller, actually, he was lights out. 2 full strong innings, 2 strikeouts total. that is something I'd like to see from the bullpen, is especially when Mariners are winning. If your bullpen pitcher is pitching well that one inning, give him another inning.
Yeah.
Don't like Joe flip-flopsy thing. Like this the stuff, like the way he was managing the bullpen is something that he should probably do when they're winning, but he tends to do it when they're losing.
Yeah. There was some positives in this thing, but to me, the biggest positive was, Ty France's 2-strike approach, getting 3 hits, 2 of them with 2 strikes, not getting too high in those situations where you feel like you have to do something. He was nice, cool, easy swings. But yeah, I was actually quite impressed with Tyson Miller coming in 2 shutout innings, which was absolutely needed, considering the struggles of Luis Castillo. But the downside is the fact that you have guys that are in the middle of your order, guys who are hitting 4th and 5th. These positions in the lineup are designed to drive in runs, and when you can't get your table setters in a position for those guys to do their job, it makes it even that much more tough. And Berrios was doing his job to right-handed hitters. I mean, we saw it in Julio's at-bats where he was swinging at that slur blowing away. Same thing with Mitch Garver. Mitch Haniger was having trouble with inside 2-seam fastballs. I think he got caught looking twice. It was not a good effort, man. And that's the thing. It's like these are the guys that have a huge responsibility and are the guys that are responsible for, with the run production, and, down 4-0. And again, it's not insurmountable. It's not at all. And, these guys literally, don't show a heartbeat until the 8th inning.
And I guess this is out of the blue, but one thing I saw from my friend East Coast M's, another YouTuber, which you should also check out, Mariners had 10 balls in play over 100 miles an hour, and maybe only half of them turned into anything. So they did have good hits. It's just somehow it just did not get to the ground, really, or even out of the field. So it was pretty much like the hitting was there. Contact was good.
Yeah.
It was just...
Yeah. I mean, you saw, like, you saw, Julio actually had a couple at bats where he actually made solid contact and lined out. Josh Rojas had one where he put a good swing on. I think it was his first at bat, and he lined out to center field. So it's they were there was a few times where they hit it right on the bullet, right on the button, and it just didn't fall in for them. So I mean, yeah, there that's a very good point by the East Coast M's, that at least there was some good swings.
There really was. But now we pretty much covered as much as we could about the game. But now that the Mariners are 4-7, where is your panic level at?
It's not. See, that's the biggest thing that I think that everybody needs to take a deep breath and understand that even after a month, it's still a small sample size. I really don't even start paying attention to the standings until we're about a month into it, because in baseball, momentum is a very real thing, and it takes time to develop it. But it also takes time to to forge an identity. But also, in a lot of circumstances, and especially with this team, it's gonna take time for them to adjust to what teams are going to be doing for them. And, even through the first week and a half, we've seen how teams are attacking, and now it's just an issue of timing. It's an issue of getting into a rhythm. And so for me, the panic button doesn't really start until after the first month of the season. And, as we saw last year, the Mariners got off to a pretty bad start last year as well, too. And, with the exception of a few players, they even with all of that, they still managed to hang around 500 in the first month of the season. And I'm fully expecting that to be the case this season. So, it is what it is. There's not much you can say about that right now. It's just trying to find some continuity on offense, but I'm not going to start hitting the panic button right away. But I do think that maybe Scott Service should do himself a favor and try shuffling the lineup combos a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe moving Ty up a little bit to like 5th, maybe. Sure. But that's the thing. It's like something has to give. On the flip side, it was nice seeing Cal Raleigh get into one late. But I just don't think that right now, with everything that's with everything that's happening in the AL West, I just think the sample size is just far too small.
Yeah, and I hear you on that, but the thing is, like, it's one of those things where, like you said, like, Scott Service really should make those adjustments, and he should, because the last thing we want is to make this like a trending thing. Now, the good news, I guess, out of it is at least all of our losses were like, okay, they're just bad games. At least only really one game where it was that Brewers game where they really did lose, and they lost in that way where it shouldn't have been. But I did look at the first 11 games. The 2023 Mariners and the 2024 Mariners are at exact identical records of 4-7.
Yeah.
And 2023, they started 4-8. So if the Mariners can at least go 5-7, at least you can say in the first 12 games, they're at least on a better pace than the 2023 Mariners. So at that pace, if you go off last year's pace, they'll make the playoffs by one game.
That's the thing. It's like you can't. And this is something that I guess it's because I've been around this game for so long, that you can't put stock into anything that happens in spring training. For the most part, pitchers are just tinkering with things and getting things ready for the regular season. But the one thing that it kind of boggles my mind is that it almost seemed like they weren't prepared for the way teams are pitching them. You know what I mean? Like, you would think that by the time the regular season rolls around, there would not be timing issues. Like, you would think that for the most part, all you're going to see is off-speed pitches. You're going to see a lot of changeups and sliders, and you would think that, mentally speaking, coaching staffs would have this team prepared to understand what they're going to be seeing, and then they can figure out a way to adjust to it. Even if it played out for the first 2-3 games that was going to be the situation, by game 4, there probably should have had a game plan. In a plan of attack of how they're going to get around not seeing a lot of fastballs. And as a matter of fact, I still think this number is still true. The Mariners are only seeing 30% fastballs, which is which no other team in the league is dealing with, right? So it just seems to me that this team, pretty much like last year and the year before, slow starts are going to be a part of the process, but there are ways around it. You know what I mean? There are ways that you can attack, and it just seems like the Mariners right now are just so predictable.
Everything of it's so predictable. Like, the way that you see them swing, it's like you didn't even have to do that, and some of their swings are half-ass. Yep. And it's like that's where I think that's where it comes down to coaching. Is they just gotta like really tighten it up on them. Like, honestly, this is just a joke. We could totally use Lou Brown, where every time you hit one in the air like that or strike out, you owe me 20 push-ups. But besides the fact,
I would actually like to see that, because at least Service would be holding people accountable.
He is, and
which he's not.
Remember Roger Dorn? He tried to get around that contract, and Lou Brown just took a pee-pee on his contract, and he got his fielding a lot better. But we need more of that kind of management. But we know it's not going to happen. Like, Scott Service is going to have his job, but at least if he could just make even 1 or 2 adjustments, this team could easily be a winner. He just has to make better decisions, and that's where it comes down to.
That's the thing, is he lost me last year, and I think he probably lost me for good. There was a stretch there where, Julio, like, I think we all understand that regardless of a slow start, whatever, man, Julio is going to, somewhere around June, July, Julio is going to turn the corner and then he's going to get red hot. But there were a lot of times last year, and especially in the first half, when guys like Teoscar Hernandez and Eugenio Suarez and Ty France just were not doing it. And every single day they were in the lineup, and every single day it was the exact same results. And there was no accountability. There was no, we're going to sit you for a game or two because, this is just unacceptable. These performances are completely unacceptable. And especially in a division like the AL West, which is 100% accountable. Now you can probably chalk that up to the fact that the Mariners didn't have much depth, but this year, one of the strengths of this team is the fact that we have depth where that's not going to fly. So I just hope that before this thing gets away from them, that, we would see some level of accountability or, something along those lines. Because, there's one of the greatest sayings, when it comes to baseball is that you can't win the division in April, but you sure as hell can lose it. And,
Which they are on pace of that right now. Now, good thing it hasn't gotten to double digits quite yet, but it's just going to keep adding up, which, I mean, I know you're not hitting the panic button, but I'm kind of like, I'm not, but it's like, but if they don't get it going kind of thing.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, by now we should have seen a series win. You know what I mean? Like, we're now starting on our fourth series now. And, it was teed up for us in the first two because Boston is, by the end of the season, Boston's probably going to be a 500 team or slightly worse than that. And then Cleveland, who knows, right? But it was teed up for them to at least get one of those series, to at least get, to at least get your first series win under the belt, kind of get some good feelings going. And it was, a split, a loss. And now it's like not getting off to a good start in the Toronto series. And it's like, you're absolutely right. This has a potential to tailspin. And what happens if they drop the next two and all of a sudden they're,
4-9.
4-9.
It's something you don't want. And then going into the series against Chicago, which is not going to be an easy camper
it's not gonna
either.
Be easy. It's not going to be easy. And the crazy thing about this is that it was imperative. Like, it was imperative for this team to start fast. And that, with that, it was going to take a full team effort, regardless of not having Matt Brash and not having Santos. I understand there's certain things, there's certain pieces that you like and you would like to get back. But the reality is like, you look at the performance over the course of the first three series and it's like, it almost feels like they weren't prepared.
It really does. And what's scary to think about, considering no Brash and Santos, the bullpen has surprisingly actually been, in my opinion, the strength of the team, considering everything else. Like, because starting pitching is actually having its problems, and the offense is having its problems as well. And with tomorrow, we got George Kirby, which I really do believe that he has a better performance than the Cleveland game. Because that game, I didn't think was like, that was George Kirby just not being a George Kirby. That Cleveland game was just bizarre. It was like everything that went wrong, it literally went wrong. And knock on wood, I just can't see that happening again. I hope not.
I have full confidence that George Kirby is going to rebound. He's too good to have those, type of starts back to back. And that's the thing. I mean, you're still dealing with a relatively young pitcher who is trying to stay ahead of the curve as far as scouting reports going. And you had a pesky Cleveland team that just knew how to take advantage of the fastball. I fully expect George Kirby to be George Kirby tomorrow. And same thing with Logan Gilbert in Game 3. I don't like that's from the starting pitching standpoint. I like my expectations are very high for the next two games. Where it gets me is going to be what kind of adjustments are going to be made, and can this team give George Kirby an early lead? because that would make the world of difference for a guy like George Kirby, giving him some breathing room. You know what I mean? So he doesn't feel like he has to be perfect to keep this team in the ball game. You know what I mean? And that's the big thing with our starting pitching. It's, when you think about every single game that we played up to this point, how many times has this offense given their starter a lead within the first 3 innings?
Yeah, let's hope that everything you said is correct, and hopefully that can make it happen. And I think that's all we've really got to say so far is hopefully George Kirby does step up. And that's going to be that's all we've got for the post-game show portion. Now let's get into the comments of the show, and then we're going to wrap it up within the next 5 minutes because, man, I got to eat.
I got to get to bed.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, everything is pretty much saying, I don't really see anything that really sticks out. Oh, and there's I guess maybe Castillo could be hurt considering that he got pulled, but maybe let's see what Brian Divish says, because usually he's the first to say that kind of stuff.
No, I don't think it was an injury. I think it was he had burned. I think between the 3rd and the 5th inning, he had burned through a lot of pitches, and you know what I mean? Like I don't think it was an injury. I think it was just he pulled him because it wasn't getting better.
Yeah, of course. Well, at this point, after looking at the comments, I think we're going to wrap it up. But thank you very much for being part of this game. Despite a really terrible game, you guys are still showing up, considering I'm still on the growing stage of 145 views. I really do appreciate it, guys. And just one more thing, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification. Any last-minute donations will be appreciated. And for tomorrow, still not sure yet if I'll be able to do the game, but I'll keep you guys updated because I'll still love to do that game. But until then, everyone have a good night. And Steve, thank you for being on this show.
Absolutely.
I think the audience really loves our duo.
And just a reminder, tomorrow at 4:00 Eastern, 1:00 Pacific, episode number 24 of Swinging for the Fences will drop as we recap the Milwaukee series and, of course, the Toronto series as well too. And it's going to be a fun show. So check it out. You can find the link that will be on the Twitter feed at Swinging Pod.
All right. Yeah, go ahead and because he is going to build that YouTube channel, and hopefully we can draw more audience, build that community of Mariner fans that would love to express any opinion and more baseball type content as well, like more legitimate baseball. But that is going to be it. And thank you very much. And go Mariners. And hopefully let's get that win tomorrow. Yeah, go Mariners.